I'm sure she's
That's right.
I would like to adjourn.
Well, I'd say have the judge.
We're going to adjourn and change this on her.
She got it.
Okay, we are live. We will come to order. It is 9 a.m. We are live. My IT guy is screaming, live, live. So welcome everyone to the August 25th, 2026, 9 a.m. Boyle County Fiscal Court meeting. I ask that you all silence your phones or put them away during the meeting. And we will start our meeting today with our invocation by Magistrate Harmon.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you this morning for a time we could meet together and take care of the county's business, which is not about the county, it's about the people that live here, we grew up with, and we've come to know. And Father, we thank you for this time to do an honor unto you. What we do, let us say the things that glorify you and lift you up. And Lord, we pray for our community. We pray for all of our employees. And Lord, we pray especially for Rusty today, that you be with him and his family as they heal from a great loss. Father, we love you. We thank you most of all for Jesus. In his name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Magistrate Harmon. Appreciate that. You're going to stay, aren't you? All right, this morning we have the honor of the Honorable Sheriff Taylor Bottom to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and your certificate will be forthcoming.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
Appreciate your service.
No picture?
We don't have a certificate.
Just get it at Sunday.
Thank you.
You know how to spell my last name, right?
Got it, no S. Oh. Next, starting next meeting, we will be back to our regular pledge with the students, and so we'll be back to normal by then, hopefully. All right, we have prior meeting minutes from August the 11th. I hope everyone's had an opportunity to review them, and I will ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Magistrate Boatner, second. Magistrate Sleeper, any discussion or comments on the prior meeting minutes? I looked over them, but I don't always catch everything, so. Everybody good? All right, all those in favor of the motion to approve the prior meeting minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have our budget transfers. Ms. Shannon.
I have budget transfers of $8,268.10.
Okay.
Move we approve the budget transfers.
Magistrate Gay, is there a second?
Second.
Magistrate Harmon, any discussion on budget transfers? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Cash transfers?
Okay. I have a cash transfer. It's actually, we closed one of our CDs and transferred that to the interest-bearing account. That was $331,099.55. And I have a transfer from the interest-bearing to the general fund, $300,000. From the general fund to the jail, $75,000. From general fund to EMS, $75,000. From general fund to the fleet fund, $10,000.
Okay. Motion to approve cash transfers.
Make motion.
Magistrate Cullen,
Second.
second by Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we'll approve our bills. Miss Elena?
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Your all's bill packet totals $208,924.33.
We need to add quarterly pest control to R&R's pest control business. That's $670. That includes the Government Services Center, the new Stewart's Lane, both properties. It's got quite a few buildings in there. And the Lowe's payment for $75.56, bringing your grand total to $209.39.89.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Helen, a second by Magistrate Gay to approve the bills. Any discussion? There are a couple of, I believe, allocations. One is the Helping Hands for $3,000 on page 2. And we did some painting at the Fred Kane building on page 5. And we also had a payment to BFW Engineering for the TAP grant repair on page 1. That's all that I had to recognize. Any other comments, questions on the bills? Okay, all those in favor of approving the bills signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. All right, we have no old business, so we'll jump right into our new business, and we have Extension District Director, Jay Hettsmansperger.
And I brought some help.
All right, good deal. Got our board chair.
This is Spencer Gwynn,
Spencer
our
Gwynn.
District Board Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, appreciate you having us out here. It's hard to sit in a meeting and not feel like I'm supposed to vote along with you guys. So,
Just go ahead and say aye.
yeah, there we go. I'm here on behalf of the Boyle County Extension Board, sit in as chair of that board, and I'm here to report the property tax rate for 2026. So this year, what the board has elected to do is to set the real property tax rate at 0.079, and the tangible personal property at 0.0951. Both of those classes are actually a reduction from where we were last year. We were able to do that for 2 years in a row to lower the tax burden and still conduct the business that we need to do for our community. So that's what we have for you today. And just to give you an idea for reference, last year that real number was 0.08. So we reduced it by 0.001, and then personal property was 0.0986. So that's just for perspective there.
Right.
And those rates were the compensating rate. Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the Extension Board tax rates?
So moved.
Magistrate Ellis, second by Magistrate Wagner. Any discussion? I will announce that I serve on that board, and I did abstain from the motion made that night at the board meeting, just so there wouldn't be any conflict of interest with tax rates and us being the county tax.
Did I see something on the animal auction coming up with kids?
Yes, I think that, see, I'm gonna have to remember, September 13th? September, yeah.
Folks, if you've never been, please come. That's a lot of fun. Careful, don't raise your hand. Oh, and
September 10th.
10th, yeah, I was gonna say,
September
that was
10th.
off, yeah, September 10th.
5 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor of the motion to approve the Extension District tax rates for 2026 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Oh, and those of you who weren't in Lexington last week, a priest spoke to us, and he told us about an auction that he went to, and when they said $8, he raised his hand, and all of a sudden he was spending $30,000 for 2 different animals. It's not an $8 animal. So if you come, be careful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you,
We'd love to
Spencer.
see you all.
Good to see you all. Have a great day. All right, moving forward, we have Boyle County Library Director, Colleen Stanley. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi,
Welcome.
everybody.
Good morning.
I'm going to just hand you.
Okay, we'll pass it around. All right.
Should have it out.
That's okay. Thank you.
Morning, everybody.
Good
morning.
I have with me Linda Ross, who is the president of the district board, and Megan Adams, who is the director of the Story Center. just to let you know who else is with me. As with the extension, I'm here to present the tax rates for this year. The library board elected on the 13th of August to take the compensating rates for the library, which was 6.7 for real property and 7.31 for personal property, and of course motor vehicle, which is fixed at 3.5. So I have lots of other things to say, but that's the.
Okay, want us to go ahead and take care of business
Yes,
first and then
ma'am.
let you
Yes,
talk?
ma'am.
All right.
Yeah.
Need a motion to approve the Boyle County Public Library taxing rates for 2026.
I make a motion.
Master Bowner, is there a second?
Second.
Master Gay, any discussion?
I know they do a whole lot in my little city that never was done before.
Yeah.
And these ladies have really both helped me a lot, so I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
They do a lot. If you watch Facebook,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is constant.
Right
There's
here.
always something going on at the
Here's the
library.
numbers, yeah.
All right, any other discussion or comments?
I'd just like to thank you all for the vision of history that is in your large display case. The Daughters of the American Revolution, in honor of our 250th, have a wonderful display there, and I hope everybody will come by and take a look at it.
It's
You mean the
a
right-
beautiful exhibit.
Right across from the circulation desk?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
That was, yeah, Peggy Ellis, and it was beautifully done.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Really neat. All right, all those in favor of approving the Boyle County Library taxing district tax rates for 2026, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carried. All right, tell us something good.
So you can see from the numbers here, things are going well at the library. It's always hard to kind of reduce it to a format that's easy to digest, but visits are up. Total visits are up. I think one of the biggest things that surprised me when I saw this were the two figures about programs attended at the library and programs attended in the community. They're nearly equal. In fact, that in the community is larger than the in the library amount, which is pretty amazing. That is largely due to both the Story Center and Outreach Department, which is small and mighty. So I'm very appreciative of them and all of the staff. Of course, our circulation continues to go up. The metric between physical and electronic is beginning to shift. So electronic does pull ahead of physical, but physical is very healthy. So we're grateful for all of that. So if you have any particular questions about that handout, I'm happy to answer them. I have other things to say though. So we're very excited about our work in Perros and Junction. We have unique partnerships because these partnerships were able to help those communities forward the things that they are interested in rather than what we might want to do. So we want to do what is best for them. So I want to report that we recently applied for the Hudson Ellis grant to be able to purchase books for the collection in Perros. It looks like they're, I'm not exactly sure where they are in their process, but it looks like they're on track for the spring or summer of next year. Is that what you think too? Yeah. That's what I think, as far as I know. So I'm excited about that, and I know Junction is right. We've been doing a lot of work with you all, but your community center project is a little bit in a different spot.
Yes.
But we're ready when you're ready.
We-
So we're very excited about that. We've also done a lot of cool programming out in the community, and I want to let you know that Art and Nature programming, painting program that takes place at the Wildlife Refuge, we're going to do that again in September with David Farmer. So that's September 19th if you're interested in that. The Story Center has been really great in engaging folks in remembering, recording, creating, and telling their stories across the county. So we're really, really proud of Maggie and the work of her team, and they've gone just everywhere. I mean, I can't think of a place they haven't been, and spent a lot of time in the schools and working with other organizations. So we're very excited about that. We partner with both school systems, and we're very happy about that. That produced a large participation in our summer reading program, which, as you know, helps with retention and overall achievement, student achievement. So we're really excited about that. I'm trying to keep it.
You're good.
One really exciting thing that happened recently is the library participates and helps lead the Boyle County Imagination Library group. And this recently, within the last 2 or 3 weeks, we got notified by the state that we've entered the 65% club, which means that we have over 65% enrollment of eligible kids in our county, which is really, really amazing. And that is a total group effort. That is not just the library, but that's just everybody who's invested in early childhood. And so to go along with that, I was able to participate this past year in the Governor's Office of Early Childhood program that was focused on early literacy with a whole bunch of people from Boyle and from Mercer, because we're together, our groups. And as a result of that, we identified early literacy from 0 to 2 as a target for the whole community, which is the most difficult, honestly, because those kids are not involved in programs, they're often in homes, et cetera, so it makes it more challenging. But the library is going to be doing a program called Baby Steps, which will be a 4-week concentrated program for parents or caregivers with kids that age, and then a monthly program for several months, and then we'll do another 4-week intensive. So each 4-week intensive will have like a meal and lots of learning and community partners and things that we can give them. We've received a grant from a local resident who's very supportive of early childhood, and she gave us money to be able to do this, so we're very excited about that. That'll be starting this year. We also have started programming for, or leaned into programming for other audiences, such as our All Abilities Club, which is for adults with disabilities, and also for teens, which we've been leaning into gradually. The Outreach Department applied for and received a Lois Lenski grant, which is again a collection grant that they're going to use to buy books for middle school specifically, because we're going to support the big population while their library is under renovation. And it will be on the bookmobile in Sweet Reads for anyone. And so I just wanted to say thank you for all the ways that you help us to do this work, and we're very appreciative of it, and we want to continue to strengthen the community and cultivate a community of readers and expand access across the county. So if there are ways that you'd like us to do something particular, I hope you'll let us know.
Is there any news on the Story Center? It's like going forward?
It's our year to work on that. We are working on it. I don't have anything I can specifically report right now, but we're still really happy to be in Grayson's and grateful for the opportunity to be there, and it's a great location for the community and for us.
Good deal.
Do you want to say anything?
Oh, no, that's perfect. My mother and my sister and I and my husband John go to the monthly meetings. My mother was sick this month and I didn't get to go, but I've got a bag that we took real live flowers, and we took hammers, and you have 30 people in the room hammering and hitting these wet flowers, and it made this cutest thing. Jennifer said I ruined it. I put my name on it at the bottom. I thought, well, I want my name on it. So then I made a little pinch pot, a little thing for bees. I've made so many things, and so many different people in the room. It's not one set of people. It's all of us, and it's really it's been a wonderful thing. So.
Well, that's a good facility to be able to use that room in that office.
Yeah, and once our community center gets going, that'll really be good. So.
Yep.
Do you want to touch on the new project about the recipes? Is that, I know you all are maybe scanning, maybe Maggie wants to talk about that.
Maybe Maggie wants to talk about that. Who knows about it more than
So
I do.
we have held history harvests in the past, and our first history harvest was on family recipes, where we encouraged members of the public to bring in your recipes and tell us stories about them, because we know so much about recipes is about kind of the history behind them rather than the actual ingredients on the list. And right now we're partnering with Center College, with Beth Morgan, the archivist there, and she has, it's called Cooking Up Community, and so it kind of continues that recipe history harvest rather, and she'll be putting it into a book this fall.
And people can bring in recipes to the Story Center and have them scanned, and okay.
It's not too late.
That was the Genealogical Society. That was the Genealogical Society, and the judge and I were there. That was fascinating.
Yeah, it was.
Very good program.
So thank you both. We appreciate all the work that you all do for our community.
We're very grateful for it.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate it.
You all have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
All right, next up we have Great American Brass Band Festival Director, Michael Perros.
Greetings, good morning.
Greetings.
It's good to see you all today.
Yeah.
We have been, Clay, a couple of other board members, myself, Judge Bottom has been involved. We've had a couple small meetings. We were involved. The city was involved, representatives, the mayor, and Earl Coffey have been in a couple of meetings, small personal meetings, about some of the funding troubles that the Brass Band Festival has had as of this year, because largely due to the rain. So we've had some major bills that we need help covered, and I'm here today to request our allocation up front instead of requesting in quarters, in order to help pay this year's festival bills, and so we can start planning for next year. But right now we've got quite a few expenses to cover, and most of it would have been covered on our own money, but with all the rain chances, you know, we made a fraction of what we normally do in terms of revenue from the event itself. We typically bring in somewhere in the range of about $30,000 in fundraising at the event itself, and we lost at least 25 of that. And all that can be due to, you know, if it didn't rain, there was a heavy chance of rain. And counting attendance, we were down by, on Thursday and Friday alone, at least a couple thousand folks. And then Saturday, of course, we lost approximately 6 or 7 hours of programming, and we were able to adjust and salvage some of the event for the rest of the day on Saturday. But obviously, with the complete monsoon, it was a difficult position to be in, losing all that time, losing all that programming, and then in the second half of the day, people still came out, but obviously, it's not the numbers that we're used to having. And so we were left in a very difficult position, and this came after a dip in some sponsorships that were unexpected and happened fairly last minute for us, and that was a difficult development for us as well. We were able to exceed our former sponsorship budget by $40,000 or $50,000 every year the last few years, based on going out to get a few more majors, and we weren't able to secure that money this year after conversations of potential and even close to, hey, you know, we're going to be able to commit to this money, and then just those conversations not panning through for us, unfortunately. And you know, I explained to Judge Bottom, the mayor as well, that most of our money that we spend, most of our expenses are accounted by December. And so the budget that we set, we base it on the prior year's numbers, what we think is realistic, and our budgeting process was very sound based on the numbers that we had achieved 3 years in a row. And we were going off of those same numbers and not increasing actually in budget at all. And with the loss of 2 sponsors, we lost approximately $45,000, and that's been difficult for us, as you can imagine. So I'm here today to ask for the funding allocation for 2027's event up front to cover the 2026 bills, and then obviously that leaves another question of what's going to happen for 2027, which I think is part of our discussion today. And you know, so I'm here to answer any questions that you may have in terms of money, in terms of what we plan on moving forward, and just as some other background information, you know, all of our hotels are filled up that weekend. If you drive by, the parking lots are completely full. People came for the event. The rooms are booked. You know, I stayed in our newest hotel, actually, which was very nice stay, but completely full. And so I think our benefactors here are tourism, as well as all of our restaurants downtown. Copper and Oak was filled front to back on Thursday night, even with food trucks on the parking lot. So there's a lot of opportunity with the Brass Band Festival that we continue to bring in, and it's evidenced by, again, the hotels that are coming in. With a free event, it's not always easy to keep track of attendance, But one of the numbers, a set of data we were able to collect this year was by a physical map where people come in, they place their pins on the US map of where they're from, and we had 130 pins placed on that map for last year. Obviously that's not everybody that's there, but of the 130 people that participated in that map, only 22 of those pins were from Kentucky. So we're bringing in a lot of folks from a lot of different places, and we had 33 states represented, and we also had Japan and Canada represented. So people are coming here for this event, and you know, part one of this conversation is what can we do to cover our ground for this previous year's bills. We can't control the rain, we can only, you know, make up where we can in terms of weather, and what's going to happen for next year's funding, and what do we do about that. And I believe that's part of our discussion today as well. Judge Bottom, I don't know how in-depth you want me to go on that subject. But
that's good. What I can tell the court, and you all make the decision, our allocation was $25,000, and Shannon, you correct me if I'm wrong, but Ben's at the 65-35 year. I believe we can only spend 65% of that allocation before December 31st.
Right.
Okay, so that would be $16,250 would be 65% of the total.
Right, and with the Finance Committee met with Judge Bottom, that's the meeting she's referring to, and the city manager and Mayor Atkins and some others from the city. And we agreed that in principle, obviously it's a court ultimate decision, but our recommendation was that we do fund the 65%, and which isn't quite half of the amount due, and the city had agreed to pick up that other difference of
our 35% basically.
Yeah, of picking that up to make the Brass Band Festival whole with their debts, and then set us on a stage to move forward. And one of the things, and we still need to figure out that moving forward plan. One of the things I was suggesting and would continue to suggest is that we come up with hopefully a 2 or 3 year plan, with the idea that we're going, you know, like a lot of events, you know, events have lifespans, and we hope that this hasn't run its lifespan, but I do think we need to continue to support our community signature event, which does do a lot for the community and has done a lot for the community, but at the same time put some serious goals and objectives on it that need to be accomplished and met in that time period, or I just don't think we can continue to go forever. But I think that I'm optimistic that we can accomplish what we want to do, given some support and time range.
Judge, my two elder colleagues have heard this probably 5 out of my nearly 8 years in the court, and you've heard this, and we could, if you follow through with me and go see the president of Center and get out to those folks who have done extraordinarily well with an outstanding education. And how many people have ever decided, well, that's free, I don't think I'll go. $100? Well, that's kind of attractive. So we get 100 Center College graduates to give $100 apiece to register for next year's Great American Brass Band Festival by you and I and others going with more clap than I would have with the president of Center. That could be just a slam dunk for $10,000 right there, or more, because I think more would come. The hotels would be happy, the restaurants would be happy. I have been saying this since we had an EDP, and no one has ever followed through. No one. And I've offered time and time again to go with you or whomever you want to designate to go and talk to the president. I mean, there are so many attractive things to the long term. I had to think, as you talked, what's going to make it attractive financially, for me to say that one of those 100 people is going to invest in something here. And it hit me that it'll be more attractive for them to come, charging them $100 than say, hey, it's going to be free, come. Let's do that this time, because you've only got 4 more months to put up with me.
Yeah, and obviously that raises the other
You
half
have
of
my
this
phone number.
question is that, how do we control that? With registrations and tickets, there's no,
I don't want to hear any impediments to it. My gosh, I'll help you administer it, and I'm a lousy administrator.
That's true.
I know I get the echo.
but I hope you see the difficulty
I
that
don't
we-
see the difficulty at all. None.
And if you don't mind, I can put a little paint on the picture for you just to help share, some of the perspective that I have on it. Is that once we start registering, we can't register some people and not everybody.
I disagree with that.
I think what he's saying is that ask them for donations. I think that's the simple thing,
That-
is what he's saying, is
that
that
makes
Not ticketing the event.
getting in, not ticketing the event,
I
but
see,
actually
I
going out to center, asking for their alumni list and possibly sending a electronic emailer to them with the donation link saying, you enjoyed it while you were here, all these years, would you consider donating $50, $100? That's kind of what he's getting to on that.
That makes
That's-
sense, okay.
I have heard it for many years.
I see.
And I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
I do have a couple questions, so do you mind if I
I'm
jump in?
done.
and ask? Okay, cool.
I'm done. Thank you.
So I've looked at the website, and Clay and I actually had a good conversation on the way out to the governor's local issues conference about this, and so just trying to figure out, because it is a, I'm always going to preach economic development, and so it is one of those things where if you can tie your tours for economic development in, Brad Thomas talked about this years ago, where if you can bring some of these, especially, when you're talking about international people over during a time like this, and you can kind of showcase what our town does, it's a great event for that. But looking at the website, looks like you had, about 12 to 14 different bands that were coming here, maybe more?
Approximately 16.
16,
It's
okay.
usually 16 to 18.
And how many play multiple shows? Is it, they normally play one show and they're kind of done, or?
Depends on the year. Most of them play one and they're finished, although I do some, with a few groups, utilize 1 or 2 slots.
I did see, there was a couple that looking at the programming. So is there the ability to maybe have less bands come in and maybe have them play multiple days? Because if they're here using the hotels, that's just, extra people using hotels that we're paying for. You're paying for 16 bands instead of 8 or 10 or whatever. I guess what I'm trying to do is trying to get the costs down. How do we kind of get the costs down? Because that's what we really need to do in order to be able to move forward is, and I'm not saying forever, but, kind of utilize the capital you have, and use it wisely, because, if you're asking for our $25,000 and you're asking for the city's $25,000, well, not only do we have to come up with an extra $25,000 each for next year's show, we also have to supplement that $45,000 that you lost this year as well, because the sponsors just fell through. You had the $30,000 for the main stage, and then you also had the $15,000 whatever that put us behind. So not only are we going to have to come up with 25 now, and then another 25, but now the city and the county have to try to come up with another, 45,000 total. So, is there a way to maybe ask, have the bands play multiple days, and how many of those bands are people that are coming in? I mean, do these bands have a large following, which is why we're, and if so, do we realistically think that, they're bringing in that many people to follow them here, or do we kind of maybe come down on and stop worrying about the bigger names, maybe have 1 or 2 big names, and then try to, I don't want to say fluff, but just kind of have some brass band, have some music. I mean, I love the idea that you guys have done over the last couple of years where you're having brass band, but you're also having still music that's being played, by that people recognize the music and actually do want to get up and dance and stuff like that. I think that's great. At the end of the day, though, the county and the cities are funding this event. and I really want to make sure we kind of get back to, this is a community first event. These kind of events are meant to bring in tourism, but it's also, I think the main driver of it should be that it's an opportunity for our community to come together. We're a small town, but we're growing, and so you have less of these events where people kind of get together. This is an opportunity where you're like, hey, I haven't seen this person forever, saw them at the Brass Band Festival. It's great catching up with them, kind of stuff. That's what I really want to get to. Since we're paying for this festival, I really want to kind of get something to where we're catering to get people out. And yes, we want to bring in those big name bands to kind of bring in some tourism, but let's get our community out first, kind of thing. That's my little rant there. So.
If I address the hotel in terms of our expense, right now, we're only able to hire so many bands outside of a 3-hour driving range. Most of them play, turn around, go home. So we're not actually spending that much on hotels at this time.
I knew it was an issue before,
Yeah.
trying to find places for them. And then with the hotels too, that reminded me of one other thing. That was also the same weekend as Governor's Scholars, right?
Yes.
So there was probably a good amount of people that were in the hotels for Governor's Scholars too. And I think that was a fantastic idea to try to put it on there with them to kind of get those families here and give them something to do while they're here as well.
Leslie Bilby from Center's on our board, and she said the reviews were very high from the kids and from program leaders as well.
Yeah.
And so we look for, again, with the rain, we only saw a small handful of them out, although those same kids that came out to hear the music were also volunteering, which was really nice.
Yeah. Jamey will tell you, he's been preaching it for a couple of years too, and I think we need to have a contingency plan on what to do with the rain. And several of us loved the idea of going. The parking garage several years ago was a fantastic idea. So I mean, I think that's that. But those are the kind of contingencies we really need to kind of figure out too, because if you plan this was not the same time you had brass band the year before, right? But the rain follows brass band. So you can have in the middle of July in a drought and it's going to rain.
It's going to rain. Although
it stopped the drought for the rest of the year.
It sure did. Is the
schedule now? It used to be the first weekend in June. So now are we back? Is this going to be the normal schedule moving forward?
We're trying to follow GSP. And so they're typically the last-ish weekend of June.
Okay.
And so that's what we're looking at moving forward for the following year.
Okay.
Which isn't a bad idea, because the first week, you'll go away. It's like, okay, we took that in school, we're going away.
We had a holiday.
Yeah. And last weekend of May was difficult too, because you're just after the holiday, Memorial Day weekend holiday. And, I want to speak to some of the bands you talked about, social media followings. They have, some of these groups have 100,000, 120,000 followers, which obviously, it's no pop star of the day who's going to have absorbent amounts of followers. And, but it is high for the niche. And some of the groups that we could bring in have 500,000 followers, but we can't afford those. And for reference, we're spending, our highest band that we spend on is 15,000. Our production budget is higher than our music budget right now, just because that's what it costs to.
So you're saying you have 15,000 that goes to one performer that plays at one time?
Depends on the year. For this past year, yes. For prior years, I've done 2 performances, but that's also just one group versus, hey, I've got 10 free groups or whatever. And I'm working on those, but obviously, they can only do so much.
Were they like the headliner band?
That was the headliner.
Okay. So
but most of them are 5 plus or minus, usually under 5. And what's that?
The free
and
ones.
some free.
Sorry, I was the president for a while.
Eddie Montgomery was 40,000, for that perspective.
But we also got money, a grant
that was
for that.
Which is
That was not just specifically from the county ponied up, that 40 grand.
Yeah.
That was part of the America 250 money that we got.
Right.
Which is great.
Which we planned a year ago.
And then the sponsors, as far as sponsors, the city and the county, for perspective, usually it's in that like $40,000 to $50,000 range between the two of you. We've got $95,000, $100,000 in sponsors elsewhere. And so as much money as that is, and extremely helpful, we are reaching as far as we can to get money. We are trying to be as resourceful as we can. I mean, I have worked diligently to create partnerships that write checks for $30,000. We just didn't have that this year. And then one of the, that other sponsor we were looking at, they had sponsored 5 years in a row and even mentioned an increase. Hey, we think an increase is possible here. We'll get back to you, we'll get back to you. And then months and months on, change of hand in the leadership for the marketing, and then that fell through. So that's the difficulty. I think if without the loss of sponsors and the rain, I wouldn't be having this conversation, but because of those two difficulties, it doesn't downplay what the event has brought in all the years prior to this, especially since COVID. We're getting 10 to 15 or 15 to 20,000 people across the 3 days. And Thursday night alone last year was 2,500 folks. And that was a small amount of money. We spent very little on that and still brought in, and that's community members, right? Friday night is 5,000. And then Saturday, over the course of the day, you've got anywhere 10,000 plus or minus. So, people are coming out for it, and it's difficult having that rain because, again, even with a loss of sponsors, we wouldn't be having even the same kind of conversation.
Yeah, and so I think this highlights the need to continue to work together with city, county, the Brass Band Festival to come up with this plan, because it's cost savings, it's funding. It also, the other thing that's fascinating to me, which I definitely do not understand how it works, but Convention and Visitors Bureau, chambers, and others, we can track data now so much better than we ever could, and that's one of the things that we've talked about is we need some more time and then an opportunity to really develop the numbers that the Brass Band Festival is generating. And I would like to see us do that on a lot of events in the community, including sports tourism and all the things that go on in this community, to be able to track the numbers that are actually being generated. We can track how many people come to the bike, what are we supposed to call it? Trails.
Bike trails.
To the bike trails, to the skate park.
Mountain bike trails.
To the skate park, to pickleball. There's ways to track all of that. How many people come to Center College swim meets or Center College football games? So that's fascinating to me. I have no idea how it works. I just know my phone knows wherever I am. And when I go into a new city, it starts immediately giving me new city stuff, or a new country, it starts giving me new country stuff. So there's ways way above my head. But so these are the type of things, though, that I really think we need to put our plan together, set a time frame, that we can't indefinitely fund this if we're not getting the return on the investment that the community needs. But if we are, then I think we continue to move forward.
All right, so, Magistrate
I
Singer.
was just going to say, you got me to thinking with what Magistrate Ellis said and what Magistrate Collins said, the Center College alumni idea, and he says people like to come and get caught up. Maybe you could, I don't know if showcase is the right word, or spotlight or highlight some event in conjunction with the brass band that would bring these alumni folks back, and they would pay to be a part that would help fund it. Maybe.
Just need to line
There
up
is a
GSP,
way to take that
homecoming,
money.
and-
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we talked about this at the meeting the other day, but I do feel like, to me, one of the things, and this goes back to the point Magistrate Cullen's making in our community part of it, is I feel like this has long been our community's homecoming event, because there are people that have grown up since 1990 knowing nothing but coming, going to the Brass Band Festival and having the Brass Band Festival as part of the community. And so I think we do need to do a better job of spotlighting that. Come home, see your family, your friends that you've been separated from. This is the time to come home to do
Revisit your alma mater. And
that. Right.
And I think with the artistic changes that we've made and the music changes we've made, the word is spreading more and more amongst the community. Again, they're not going to pay attention, the community's not going to pay attention to our marketing when, hey, we know what it is, we get it. But those changes have been there, and now it's getting the community to recognize, hey, this is something different than what you're used to seeing. There is some of the old that you're used to seeing, which has to be there, but there is this new wave, as you mentioned. There's music that people recognize and dance to and understand and can feel like a party.
I can't take credit from that. That was Robert Wagner several years ago. We were sitting at the table, and you know, he kind of noticed. I mean, he's been in the music business forever, and so he's like, we could get some music people, little younger people who would recognize, they'll get up and dance and kind of bring it to them. We also, and I'm guessing this is probably something maybe for the board and for you to understand that you always want to, think about growing and how do we make it bigger and better. And if we look at past festivals that we've had in this community, sometimes when you start making them too big and too better, then they go away. We look at the barbecue festival, which it was one of my favorites. It's a great festival, and it just got so big to a point that it kind of it was too much, especially when you can't control things like COVID or whatever, which we understand. But we used to have an air show in this community that a lot of people probably don't know about, and it was great. And then you get a lot of people who are like, oh, we're gonna make it bigger and better, and then the next thing you know, it's gone. And so I think you really kind of have to focus on like, okay, are we reaching too far? And maybe we scale it back a little bit to kind of like, where we know it really worked and go from there. So.
And I think where it used to work, that's where the decline happened. Because people got used to that same show. If you talk to Terry Crowley, he's been on since 1990.
Yeah.
He said it was the same show for 25 or 30 years. And then that's where you see your attendance start to decline. And then what also happened was, okay, well, we took our expenses and we just slashed the music budget down, and then lower quality groups started coming in. You get more free groups, and as great as free groups are, they don't make your heart sing like something like a group that really understands how to perform and the good quality that it actually provides. And on top of that, the following, the social media following. I mean, Brass Against, we still had hundreds of people out for Brass Against, even though it was pouring, soaking rain, and that was community members as well. Yeah. And so, I think we're on the right track, and I don't, what I'm reaching for now is to get to a place where it's big enough for enough people, but not to where we outgrow ourselves, outspend ourselves. And right now I've got the music where I want it for now until we're able to make that next step. But right now we've got to cover what's happening here. And again, we've been able to cover our own expenses for the last several years with increased sponsorships. And we saw a huge, $7,000 jump in donations last year, which was massive for us. And we were expecting that same kind of jump this year, with higher social media followings, more people coming in. And so whether it's the community or people coming in, what we're focused on is how do we make this as widely attended as possible? And that directly relates to the money that we're able to bring in for the following year. Yeah. So, we want the community interested, obviously. We want them to be able to come in, and we need some of that marketing to help support our efforts now, because we have this great product, but our marketing budget is staying extremely small for an event our size. It's just, we spent a few $1,000s this past year. And $3,000 of that went to a social media manager, which he did a fantastic job. And that's very necessary in the world we're in, especially when these bands have social media followings and presence. When you have community-based bands that don't really have a social media following, that's not as important to you. But when you have bands that have 100,000, 150,000 followers, they want that social media to look right so that they can repost it. And as soon as they engage, we get a huge influx of followers. We've increased our Instagram followers alone by several thousand just since 2023, when we started to really pursue the social media side of things. And that is a way for us to continue to track in a free festival what we're able to do and accomplish. And I think that moving forward, we need to reach further with our marketing and be able to, as Mr. Gay spoke about, but geofencing and using services that reach our phones immediately and pull these ads and, hey, you're entering Boyle County, this is what, and Boyle County is on every single piece of our marketing out there. Campbell, Boyle County, come to Center College, this is where it is. and these are the dates, and it's there every year. So it continues to be, the more people we can reach with marketing and the more budget we can get for that, the better off we're gonna be.
What's your hope, like how, are you trying to pull people in from more than 3 hours away? Because you mentioned that about the bands are more, like
Right.
about 3 hours away. We live in a society where we actually have the ability to look at the weather, you know, and track it and make a decision probably the day before whether we're gonna go and do something based on the weather, you know, because we can see that. And I think, you know, a lot of people, if you're trying to grab them from too far away, you know, you're gonna fall short based on weather. Because people are like, I'm not gonna travel all that way, there's a good chance it could rain or whatever. So you gotta be really careful about how far out you're trying to go and how far out you're trying to attract people.
Coming from Hawaii, California, all the way on the
those
west
are ones you
coast.
can't count on. Those are ones that you hope to come. You really gotta hammer in, you know, maybe that 3 hours is kind of that's your niche, is that, those are the people that you really should be going after. And, you know, it's great to have the stories about people coming from Japan or whatever, but, you know, if it's raining, they may not make it that far, although, you know, if they're coming from that far, they've probably already made travel plans, whatever. But
way in advance.
Yeah, and their flights and.
But I mean, I can tell you from experience, it's easy to cancel now than it has been in the past. You know, if you're not going to waste money to come out. But the ask that you're giving us right now, just to put it in dollars, is essentially it almost feels like you're asking for a total of about $100,000 between 2026 show and 2027 show. Because that's the reality, because we've already given you the $25,000 from last year, I think it was, right? And now you're asking for another, you know, as much as we can give this year, which will probably end up being $25,000 after December 31st.
Right.
I see that we will probably be giving you that. So that's
Right.
that's $50,000 is what we're going to end up spending for 2026. And we haven't even talked about, because we gave you 25 already from last year that was supposed to go for 2026, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. I see. Sorry, I had to get all that.
25, 26
I see.
fiscal year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the 26 show, we gave you 25 already.
Right.
Out of last year's budget. And now, for this year's budget, we're gonna give you 25, essentially, for the 26 show as well.
To catch up.
To catch up.
Yep.
Now we need
Yep.
to now we need to scratch our heads and figure out, okay, what are we gonna do about 27th show? And so, and you don't know about your main sponsors or anything like that, so there'll probably be the push to come to us again to maybe fund that amount. So that's why I'm saying that that's where we kind of get to the 100,000 for these two shows. And so that's almost the ask that we need to say. Clay?
Did I even come up there?
Yep.
Yeah, come on up.
I was just gonna say, when you were talking about, 3 hours away or whatever, I think those are all the people that knew it was raining and didn't come out, right?
Yeah.
So if you looked out there, you probably were seeing the people that had already booked their hotels, made travel plans, and then they were like, all right, we're here, we're gonna go out and make the best of it. And everybody that was gonna drive that lives here and in the community were like, heck no, I'm staying home. So I think that we are, we get those people that are close, it's just, they're the ones that didn't show up. Most part because they live here and
It's easier.
I mean,
for
that's
them
where
to
we
not
figure
get
the
home.
contingency plan or whatever, I don't know.
And without with our best rain plan currently, in terms of logistics especially, is Norton Center. Because you try to hold it outside as long as you can.
Right.
And then you go, okay, we gotta get inside or whatever.
But there's a cost for that.
But there's cost for that. And that's.
Maybe only because I was the president.
Yeah, sure.
Jason brought up the parking garage, and that obviously in coordination with the city. Tony Gray was great, and honestly, I can't remember if I was president, he was vice president, but one way or the other. The person who really came up with that idea was head of Value and Breast. She's awesome, she's a genius, she's beautiful, kind, compassionate, much smarter than her husband, who was trying to put all that together. That was me. But Jason's right. That went off without a hitch. I mean, that was a great. And we were throwing that together with like 3 hours of advanced planning.
Right.
So Jason said that. I mean, I think it is something to pursue. It's like just an automatic. We know what we're doing.
And those bayou groups, those are smaller, right?
Yeah.
And you can fit those, but when you get to Saturday, you got 30 to 60 in one group times 6 or so that I'm planning, and the rest of them are smaller and can fit. And the bands that we were definitely paying on Saturday, they all played. We made sure that happened, and that's a success. Because those are the ones we were gonna have to spend money on anyway. They booked their flights, they got themselves there, we have to pay them, right, for all their travel and all their time, and
Well, that's just something that the board, the committee is gonna have to come up
Sure.
with and
Yeah.
figure out, what do we do if it rains?
Right.
And where do we go and how do we do all that?
And I'm open to the garage for sure.
Yeah.
Just
The garage, you've got, we have several schools with auditoriums in them, or at least, I think now that you have the different date, KSD would be a good option. They've got that large gymnasium. You could, I don't know how the sound,
Yeah.
so I'll leave that all to you. I'll just throw out ideas.
Sure.
But the county's perspective of we're going to invest in this because it's good for economic development. It's good for the economy and stuff like that. We have to understand. Okay, how much are we going to invest versus what we're getting in return as well.
Sure.
Because it's like we can't just dump a bunch of money and then get a little bit of money back through the economy.
And
So that's-
continue to be in the hole year after year.
Right.
yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things. It's okay. This is maybe the next 2 years, kind of tighten up your belts and figure some stuff out, or really just power down and get some big sponsors, and and like we talked about, if we can get the Yamahas or the Sweetwaters, like you were talking about, guitar centers, people that really benefit from these kind of events going on. That's really where we need to be, and we need to hit the state. Visitors Bureau. That's a big one too. They love music festivals. I don't know why they haven't been better to us.
We applied for 7,500 in grants. We received 2,500 of that we may or may not be able to use because it has to be for a downtown event. So specifically for a Kentucky-based group, and it had to be after the festival in terms of the dates. It had to go for July 1 or later. And so the only way for us to use that, and it had to be in 2027.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, maybe, Judge, if you could.
But if we can get more,
you
I'm
could
with
see
you.
about getting the director from the state, state.
CVB.
CVB in here, and our local CVB has to really get vested in this because their funding comes directly from these hotels that you're filling up. So they have a vested interest in this as well.
I agree. And I'm all for trying to reach out, Mr. Ellis, as you spoke earlier, I'm all for reaching out for donations from Center College. I'm all for that plan.
The long-term benefit of them coming back will be measurable
I'm looking
and
forward
easily tracked.
I'm looking forward to it.
Joe Jones and Mary Smith coming, and 2 years later investing here, it will be cause-effect, direct result.
That's your game.
If we haven't made a motion, I make a motion that we fund
Thank you.
our 65% of their allocation for this fiscal year.
Okay, which will be in the amount of $16,250, and then after January 1st, you can request the remaining balance.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion by Master Gay. Is there a second? Master Harmon. Okay, any more discussion on this topic? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you all very much.
All right.
Just, it's important to know the city does not actually tie them to specific things that
That's
they have
correct.
to use their funds for.
No.
So I believe the city, did they pass theirs last night or?
I believe so. We got that approval from Mayor Atkins at the meeting that we were all attending, and he said go ahead and request that money, and so I'll follow up to see if we.
I would think they
when
would
we
have
get
to,
that
they
check.
would have to get it approved as well. I don't think Mayor can just give that.
They would.
It has to
Okay.
go through the council, so
We'll double check
I would
that then,
follow up
make
with the
sure.
council to make sure that was approved.
I will double check with that for
Yeah.
sure.
Anyway,
Thank
cool.
you for that note.
Thank you. Y'all have a
you.
great day.
You
Thanks
too.
so much.
Thank you.
Move in day.
All right, good deal.
Make mistakes here and help to make sure that our wives get credit.
All right. Anybody seen Planning and Zoning Director? There she is, right on cue. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Good.
I didn't know if I had anything printed out, but here it is.
We do not.
The fiscal year 2027 budget.
Good deal.
I like it. Big number too.
For old eyes.
Yes. Speaking of, actually.
I'm speaking of myself, not the rest of the court.
No, I've been told the 11 by 17s work better for plats and everything like that. All right, so today we're just talking about the fiscal year 2027 budget for planning and zoning. Initially, we had received $110,000 for the fiscal year 2027, $78,898 for the agency base fund, and $31,102 for a GIS analyst. But we do need an additional $21,102 for the base fund and an additional $3,898 for the GIS analyst. And it's kind of broken down into these columns in the sheets that I gave you. So I'll kind of just go column by column. The first column is the fiscal year 26 budget. The second column is the fiscal year 2026 budget amendment. So that's the budget versus the actual. The middle column is the adjusted fiscal year 2026 budget amendment. And so I kind of highlighted in the additional comments what each column is. For the adjusted fiscal year 2026 budget amendment column, this adjusts the fiscal year 26 budget amendment to show the fiscal year 25 fourth quarter contribution in fiscal year 25 rather than fiscal year 26. Removes the one-time bluegrass ad charge of $52,663.75 and provides a clean comparison to the fiscal year 26 budget and budget amendment. And to kind of go into detail on that, I arrived in June of 2025, and so that fiscal year 25 fourth quarter contribution didn't get requested until I arrived, so it wasn't received from us until fiscal year 26. So it kind of made our budget a little wonky, so it adjusts for that. And then it also adjusts for the one-time charge from the bluegrass ad for the comprehensive plan of $52,663.75. We originally budgeted, I think, $10,000 or $15,000 for that, and so that $52,000 was a big hit on us. And so that middle column adjusts for those two big ticket items and those two kind of questionable items. And then moving on to the last two columns, the fiscal year 27 budget without the GIS reflects increased city and county contributions to cover higher personnel, office, and contractual costs. So this fourth column, the fiscal year 2027 budget without the GIS analyst, reflects a $25,000 increase in the base amount due to higher personnel costs and office costs. Additionally, planning and zoning hasn't asked for an increase in the budget in 12 years. So if we break down that cost, over the course of 12 years, it's a 33% increase from the base fund from $75,000 to $100,000, but over the course of 12 years, that would be a 2.2% average annual increase over that period, so it's about a COLA. And then going on to the fifth column, the fiscal year 2027 budget with the GIS analyst. This reflects the fiscal year 2027 budget with the 25,000 base increase and a 35,000 base increase. I want to say both from the city and the county to hire a GIS analyst, which has been requested from the city and the county. So this will show the fiscal year 27 budget with that 25,000 base increase and the 35,000 increase for the GIS analyst added, including salary, wages, FICA, Medicare, and retirement costs. But any expenses for furniture, computers, or software are separate from this because in discussions with the city and the county, they will be provided. So the city said that they would provide office space and other things like that. So this reflects kind of two things. An increase in the base fund and an increase for the ask for the GIS analyst. I think originally we asked for fiscal court, I think 135, or we asked for an increase in 35,000, and after meetings with the budget review committee, we have discussed that we need an additional 25,000 for the base fund. And the budget committee has always talked about if the general operating funds gets below $40,000, which it did after that kind of big hit with the $52,663. So the budget committee has always said if the general operating funds get below that $40,000 mark, we'll ask for an increase. And it did get right around that $40,000 mark after kind of evening out and balancing our budget. So That's why I'm here today, to ask for.
Okay, so for the first additional cost that you talked about, is that a total of $38,897.60?
For the base fund,
Uh-huh.
it would be an additional $21,102.
$21,102?
Yes, yeah, we received $78,898, but we'll need a total of $100,000.
So I guess I'm confused as to, is this request coming for our next budget cycle?
It's this budget cycle.
Well, I guess that's what's concerning to me, is that we're just 2 months into this budget cycle. And that's a lot of requests for us to
Additional
jump.
funding?
Amendments.
Yeah, this budget. And I guess I'm concerned about why we didn't talk about this in March.
Timing with the audit and timing with the budget review committee, we weren't able to look at the budget until we were done with the audit. And so I had to ask for an additional $35,000 preemptively before meeting with the budget committee to go over the budget. Just timing, really, and timing on agenda items as well.
And so
trying to
what
get on
is
the
the
agenda.
base amount, and what makes up that base amount, 25,000?
Additional personnel costs. We can go kind of like line by line to see kind of revenue versus expenditures. So the revenue for the planning commission is on the first page, and then expenditures are on the bottom half of the first page and the second page. We have not a lot of revenue, so I think going to line 15 for the land use and recording fees, we have revenue for that, but we also have on line 38 of the expenditures the same line item, because we try to essentially break even on those costs. So in short, there's not a lot of revenue coming in, but we're trying to, with the implementation of permitting systems online and enforcing the rules in the ordinance and the subdivision regulations, we're trying to increase our revenue and decrease our expenditures. But essentially the expenditures are getting more expensive and the revenue is getting smaller.
And what is the salary for the GIS analyst?
It would be $35,000 from both the city and the county. And we estimated we have just posted the GIS analyst on our website and on the American Planning Association website. So we are ranging $55,000 to $70,000, depending on the person's resume and credentials. So we wanted to cap that at $70,000.
70,000 total or plus benefits?
$70,000 total, but it is already budgeted with benefits in our budget.
Well, I guess what I would suggest is, I think this is going to take, I personally think I need some more time with this information. And I think we either need to put together a work session or something with our treasurer and
Finance committee needs to get together and talk about it.
Yeah, so.
So when you say staff, right now it's you and Lisa.
Correct.
All right, so the increase in staffing is just that you and Lisa getting raises, right?
COLAs and raises.
Okay.
But I will say, over the course of 4 directors, that personnel cost has decreased with lower payments and salaries. So it is not increased. It is an increase in office space. It's an increase in accounting services. Additionally, it was an increase in contractual services due to the fact that the county doesn't have an engineer or surveyor anymore, so we have to contract that out ourselves. And additionally, that big hit with that $52,000 charge for the comprehensive plan, that is what took us to that $40,000 mark in the general operating fund. And our budget committee has always said if it gets that low, we need to ask for an increase. And
We funded part of the comp plan, didn't we?
Yeah.
I thought we.
Yeah, we did.
I don't believe so. I think we paid that full $52,000 charge.
We'll pull that one.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
Or at least we budgeted it, whether it was requested might have been the question here. I know you all came, not you, but Michaela came and we did approve money for the comp plan, but whether it got requested in the budget year and asked to carry forward may have not happened.
And we budgeted for it too, it just, we budgeted $10,000 to $15,000 and it was
I think the city and
unexpected.
county were supposed to make up the difference.
Yeah.
But whether you all asked for it is another thing.
So, how hard are you pursuing contributions from outside of just Danville and Boyle County
We do have
governments?
an additional online we have a small cities contribution from Perryville and Junction City.
But I mean, I guess my question is, have you been reaching out to them, trying to get them to up that contribution? I mean, I know that there's a lot of growth in Junction as far as housing and stuff like that goes, which means you've got expenses, you know, whether it's your various fees or whatever, for them to build these houses and stuff. They both have seats on the board as well. So has anyone approached them about possibly helping to cover some of this shortfall? Okay. I think that's the right thing to do as well, is that if we know a lot of growth is happening in Junction. I mean, there's a lot going on out there, and so that, you know, it would be right to kind of maybe approach them to say, hey, you know, we're doing a lot of work in your neck of the woods. Can you guys? But the hard part is, like Jamey said, we've already established our budgets for the year, and so we worked really hard this year to have a good balanced budget while still, you know, having good projects going out there. So it's gonna take a lot for us to be able to figure out where we can cut, or, you know, we can't just keep dipping into reserves. But I mean, I would say wholeheartedly that we really need to at least ask, you know, if there's opportunities there for them to contribute more. Like we said, they've got board seats and stuff like that. And then that goes back to, and I understand, you know, everybody's in the county, but how much of this growth that you're asking us to take on is actually happening specifically in the county?
Outside of the municipalities.
Outside of the municipalities, how much is happening in the county, where the county should be equally funding? It's, you know, if there's a heavy amount of stuff happening in Danville, you know, a lot of your expenses are coming in from Danville, where Danville receives their own taxing money.
And their county taxing.
Very little. But how much of that is you understand what I'm getting at? Is like, you know, should this cost actually be equal and split? I mean, actually, we're taking a little bit more of it according to these numbers. How much are we subsidizing? I guess.
I can't answer that question. Really.
Okay. Yeah. I would say those are some of the questions that maybe, you know, we figure out and go from there, because we need to find funding sources, and we need to make sure that we're funding things appropriately.
So what's the grand total ask? I need the grand total.
For the base and GIS?
For everything.
For everything? With
There's two different columns. There's the what they want now, and then there's, so we got to break it up
With
that way.
GIS and without GIS.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
with,
It's,
yeah, right.
135,000. With the
135,000
base and the GIS analyst.
with base and GIS.
Right.
Okay.
And so right now we have already received and gotten from the Boyle County Fiscal Court for the fiscal year 27 an additional, well, we've gotten 110,000. So we've gotten an additional increase from that base 75,000. But we still have a need for more, based on the fact that we have gotten to that $40,000 mark, and we still need $3,898 more for that GIS analyst to ensure that.
So we budgeted 110,000, which included the GIS analyst, right?
Yes, correct.
But you guys have not. You're telling me that you're using that GIS salary for something else?
No.
No, we put a restriction on that money that we would release those funds.
That's what I thought.
When somebody was hired.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
On the job.
But we still need an additional $3,898 more for them to cover their salary, wages, FICA, and Medicare and retirement, because you all do cover the planning and zoning retirement and those benefits. But because we dipped below that $40,000 mark in the general fund, we are asking for an additional $21,000 for the base fund. So we did get that increase for the GIS, but now we're coming for the base as well. So.
Okay, because, you know, again, I think it's and it gets a little more complicated, I think, just being a county government election year as well. So these are all things and reasons why I think we need to just pause. I don't know if it's table it or whatever it is.
Or we're back to that 65-35 again.
Yep.
I know, and so that's what we're talking about. We have funding restrictions in an election year in county governments, because I guess
We can only
statewide,
spend
people
65%.
have done goofy things.
Yeah.
And so we've got there's protections against that now. And so we've got to abide by that. So that's one of the other complicating things, I think, that we have to kind of work through and meet and talk about all of this for that reason.
But like I said, we did post that GIS analyst job on the website, and I saw that you all posted, I think, on Facebook as well, so thank you. So we are hoping to start interviews in September and get that hired.
Yeah.
Because
Well, regardless, we're only going to be able to give 65% of it.
Yes, but we wanted to ask for that 70,000 for the top and make sure it's, but we may not, use that.
They won't need it all anyway, because they're not gonna pay them up front for their
Correct,
salary
yeah,
and stuff like
that's
that.
correct.
so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Paula,
Okay.
Paula and Tom, would you guys be able to maybe coordinate something with the mayors and see if there's something that could happen from Junction and Perryville to assist with some of the funding as well? Y'all both have great relationships with the mayors.
So we're going to have to pause on this until we can get the finance committee together and do a little more research. Pardon?
For finance committee or finance
Yeah,
committee.
yes, yeah. And so we'll figure out a date and let you know.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you too.
All right, next up is EMS Director Mike Rogers, waiting patiently.
Thanks, Judge and Fiscal Court, for letting me have some time on the agenda today. I have several things. The first one is a mutual aid agreement between us and the Danville Fire Department. It's a pretty standard agreement that we've had for many years. Typically, it was kind of just interagency to work together, and but this year the new fire chief sent it to the city council, and they recommended some changes, and so you see the changes in the red. Not a whole lot of changes really. The only thing they added, and something that we've done over the years, is item number 3 is that they replenish their medical supplies from some of the stuff that we use, and so that's kind of the mutual aid agreement. Any questions on that?
Mike,
Yes, sir.
I've seen, unfortunately, in 26 years in healthcare administration, 2 very unfortunate deaths. One of a baby, one of an adult. How are we covered when others join us under this in an accident and something untoward is done by one of their professionals? How are we covered?
Yeah, and I mean that's a good question. Of course, we run off our protocols. The city of Danville also has their own protocols. In here, they also have to retain their training records and all their equipment, and so our people. If it's a patient care error, our people would probably catch that. And so that's a good question. I really don't know the
Well,
best way to answer that. Maybe-
Unfortunately, not only the experiences that I know about, but just last week on the news, the wrong dose of a drug was given to a woman, I believe in Lexington, and she's now paralyzed from the waist down. Accidents happen in healthcare delivery. That's why I want to make sure that in reciprocity, they're covered to the maximum, and we don't have the liability.
I mean, if there's something that happens, I mean, someone's going to sue everybody. It's going to be anybody that was there at the scene. So, I mean, they're going to have insurance just like we would, maybe more.
And so some of the risk mitigation is, you know, well, obviously we train together. You may have seen that on social media. The Danville Fire Department, they run BLS response only. So they wouldn't be administering a ton of medications, I think 1 or 2 at the most. Our paramedics are the ones that are doing the high level, you know, paralytics, those types of things. So they won't be involved in doing that. It's just kind of basic life support, CPR, first aid for like major life threats, choking, those kind of low risk maneuvers. I mean, nothing is without risk, but does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, so you need a motion to approve this agreement?
We'll make a motion.
Mr. Cullen, second by Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion on the mutual aid agreement between the fire department, Danville Fire Department, and Bull County Emergency Services?
I reviewed it and I agree.
Thank you. Okay, you approve?
Approve, yes.
Okay. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
The next item on the agenda are just some additional policies that we put together to be approved. I don't know if you want to go through them or just approve them all, or
You want to just touch on them, just to
yeah, for sure.
like, you know, tell us what each one is?
Yep. So we did a light duty policy. It was something that we learned in an EMS class that we took. Actually, Mo and Steve, the HR director, went to the class and suggested that with the light duty position, you need to have a number of positions, so that way you don't have 10 people on light duty, because that would be a burden to the county. So we kind of made a policy to just kind of have the minimum number of positions, and then kind of what outlines what those are for light duty employees.
That would be a maximum of 2.
Yep.
Okay.
And then,
That's a question. On that, this is not like one where someone's got a disability and where the ADA provides accommodations. It's not that. Right.
Yeah.
On that agreement, is there? I didn't see like there's a timeline or anything like that. You think we should have a timeline of how you know, like the maximum amount of time that someone can be on light duty, or like in a given calendar year, how much time, you know, things like that. That's just a thought.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And one thing we talked about in our committee was talking with you to see if you felt comfortable reading through these and adding these, or if we should just specifically look at ask an employment attorney to review kind of all of these high risk policies for us. And we haven't really had that discussion, but wanted to kind of wrap you into that, see kind of what your thought on it. If you want to look at them and give your feedback, or should we just, you know, reach out to
one that
that
deals
just specializes in like these type of policies and
right. I mean, probably so, because I mean, you know, I can give you general suggestions, like, you know, what I'm just have given you. I mean, I'll do whatever the fiscal court asks.
Well, the committee did approach Steve about, you know, reviewing some stuff with an HR attorney to make sure that we're getting specialized eyes on it as well. So we don't want to just hold you to that.
All right, especially some on that, you know, where the employees can date or have a relationship. I'm not, you know, up on that law, or, you know, so I think it would be good to have somebody that deals with that.
Yeah. And then
that hasn't been done yet.
No, we haven't. And that's no.
Because I almost think that, like, you know, it's in there on the relationship thing. It says, well, you don't have to report it if you're not in a supervisory role, but I kind of think that everybody should report it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
and they probably know. Everybody knows, and there's someone.
Some of the things that we got from that class, which was from an EMS attorney, that he only does EMS law, this is kind of the things that he suggested. So we just took a class and we threw this together. I definitely think it'd be very prudent for an attorney to read all these policies. The thing we were worried about in the personal relationship one is one where you have a supervisor and a subordinate. And that can obviously cause problems, whether it's asking them for a day off or, everything's fine until they break up, and then it's really, so.
Everything's fine until it's not.
Yeah. Here's a problem I see. Say that there's two people and they're like, one's driving an ambulance and others, in the back or whatever, and something messes up or whatever, and you don't know that they're in a relationship, they're going to cover each other's back, on that. So I think that in any relationship that's going on there, that should be made known, in writing.
Yeah, and we've done some things over the years where if we, that they come and say, hey, we're in a relationship, whatever that is, we would just split them up. But again, I definitely think it would make sense to have an attorney look over some of these policies.
I think Chris is bringing up a really good point too, is that there's always a sense of seniority, even if they're both EMTs.
Right.
There's always some sort of person that almost has more of a supervisor than the other. And so I think where, when we originally discussed this, we didn't really catch that point, that's probably something that we do need it made public. And which is going to be hard because then they're going to be worried about being separated or split up or whatever. But there's also aspects of, those people might be in relationships with other people, and and this is their time to get together, kind of stuff. So I think the county attorney's opinion on this is pretty valid.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
So they do have to self-disclose that they're in a relationship.
That's what we need to put in the policy.
Pursuant to that policy, only if it's supervisory role, not just in general, which I think it's good to have.
We can add that
in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can add that.
And then you'll need to add timelines, okay, you need to let us know by a certain amount of time.
It can still be,
Yeah.
You don't have to let everybody know or whatever, but probably everybody already knows.
Yeah. Well, because we've gone back to the 24-hour shift, so people are spending a lot of time together. They're seeing things that naturally draws people together and form relationships and stuff like that. So that's why it's good that Mike brought all this up to us and discussed it. We have seen the news about things happening in other communities, but this made us think further. So.
I think it's good. It just needs a little tweak.
Okay. I can work with you on whatever and however good you want to handle it.
Yep.
If you want to bring it back or just.
Yeah, we'll have to just receive the information today, get someone else to look at it, and then bring it back for approval.
All right.
Do we have money in the budget for a specialized person?
Well, we have contracted services and legal. Yeah.
So we'll make sure they weren't already spoken to.
And then the paramedic sponsorship selection process, is that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's just, it's something that we've done over the years. We've kind of done the same thing. It's just another policy that we thought probably needs to be put on paper to make sure that we're not
favoritism.
Favoritism or anything like that.
I approve of that one. I don't feel like there's much. It's pretty laid out.
You recommend we approve this one today?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion we approve that one.
Okay, motion by Master Cullen, second. Master Gay. Any discussion on approving the paramedic sponsorship selection process standard operating procedures? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. You got that one approved, Director.
All right, that's great. All right, so
The
I'll
other
bring those
two-
other two back.
Yeah.
The next thing on the agenda item is Pulse Point, and it's something that we've been working on for many years. And just as part of this, I want to kind of celebrate what we've done and what we're working on next. So in 2012, we started working with the hospital about heart attack. Okay, so we're talking about two different things. There's a heart attack and then there's cardiac arrest. A heart attack is when you have a cheeseburger stuck in your coronary artery and you got to go to the hospital, and they can go into a cath and get that out and clear it. And we've had a lot of success with that over the years. And Ephraim has done a great job with that. And it's pretty rare for us, for a community like ours, to have a primary PCI center, which is what that is. And so we're lucky there. In 2012 and 2015, we started really focusing on cardiac arrest, and that's back when I was really focusing on a lot of education at that point. And if you look in the newspaper or Google it, there was an article of me talking about how our cardiac arrest survival rate was 0 that specific year. So we had, every year we have around 70 cardiac arrests. And it happens in the United States over 350,000 times. So you're likely to see this in your community or even at Walmart or Kroger or things like that. And so that year we had 70 and 0 of those patients lived.
That had
to
be devastating.
That was a call. That was a call to arms for us, and also dispatch. Dispatch started not long after that. Started doing emergency medical dispatching, which is our first line of someone getting CPR on the scene before we get there. And if we know they get CPR before we get there, we can double or triple their chances of survival. Mm-hmm. And so that's why that's important. And so we've been working every year since then. You've seen it on Facebook. We were working with Danville Fire Department with cardiac arrest. You know how the fire service has a structure fire, and that's what they train for all the time? EMS, our structure fire is cardiac arrest. These are patients that are clinically dead. They have no heartbeat, or they have 2 different times. Your heart has 4 ventricles. If those ventricles, they start fibrillating, or if it just got out of sync, that's cardiac arrest. Now it's caused by a bunch of different things, but that's kind of the best way to kind of to figure it out what's going on with them. So our next step as a community is what's called pulse point. And what we see is now we get so many people back that they usually, very commonly, we always get a pulse back, or very commonly get a pulse back. And what we're seeing now is they end up in the ICU with a brain injury. And it's still a success, but it's not the success. We want people home and to close to normal as possible. And that's what our passion is. Pulse Point, what it does is it's an app on your phone. And there's several different ways to go about it, but one way that I propose would, this will be a whole process once we start onboarding it, would be if you're CPR certified, you're encouraged to download the app. If someone calls 911, you're at Walmart, hey, there's someone in cardiac arrest on aisle 5, it'll actually alert your phone, and you'll say, hey, I'm at Walmart. And you go over there and you can administer CPR. It also has on there where AEDs are, if there's an AED in the store or not, so that way it would alert for that. And so it would be a great resource for us to get people to the scene. And what our dispatchers tell us is that a lot of times, and we've seen it, that the people that are there aren't really healthy enough to be able to do CPR very good. And so if you're at home and you've been CPR certified and your neighbor goes into cardiac arrest, well, you wouldn't know it until the ambulance shows up. With this app, it'll say, hey, someone needs help next door, and you'd be able to go use the skills that you learned within CPR. Now, it's a good app, but there's a startup cost, and we've tried to figure out a way to not add more burden to the, our budget. And so I thought it was in the packet, but I did email it out, and there's an invoice that I emailed out just a few minutes ago. But basically, it's an $18,000 startup fee, which is the bad part. But
how much was it?
$18,000. That's the initial startup fee. But Dr. Garant and his medical group, Impact Medical, is willing to foot the 100% of that bill for the $18,000 for that startup cost. Now, the next thing, there's always a trick, right? After the first year, every year it'll be an $8,000 just to maintain the system. And so we thought if we...
The system or the equipment or both?
Just the system, the app, the licensing and the app and all that. Yeah. And so, ideally if the city and the county could split $4,000 each, we could help save more lives. And just to give you, in 2025, our overall survival rate was 14.3%, and then the Eustine survival rate, and that's the patients that present, and VFib or VTAC, the one we were talking about, That's a 20%, which is much better than zero. In 2026 so far, the overall is 18.4, and our use team survival rate is 57%. And we've had a lot of saves in the last 2 months.
Awesome.
And so, what we're trying to build, it takes a lot of champions, and this is kind of the next step. So, I'm not really sure. I just wanted to present all that. I'm not really sure the direction you want to take. I'm sure Eric will probably want to come in at some point and
Is there a line item in your budget that would cover the 4,000?
No, that's not till
well,
next year.
in the next fiscal year, but we have time to build it. So really,
Okay.
it's not going to cost us anything this year.
So you're not wanting to start this now?
Well, we will
Dr.
start
Grant
it,
is going to fund it.
but the $18,000 will start it, and
Okay.
then budget time we will budget.
It'll be
the
8,000 for
4,000.
next year?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
you're
you
gonna-
can talk with the city if they want.
That's what I was gonna say. You're gonna talk to the
Yeah.
city.
Okay.
That
For
sounds
next budget
great.
year.
So this is one of those things that we need to get plugged in with Bill, so we have a tracking system like we have the other.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
to make sure
Yeah.
Bill gets this on his list and manage.
Yeah.
It's great, very generous offer from Dr. Grant.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, and that does give
Very
us time
much.
to, it sounds like this is definitely a worthwhile thing to build
Oh,
into
yeah.
the budget for
There's a lot
next year.
of retired nurses and doctors
You-
and,
Yeah.
a lot of people. That's-
You go to
Anybody
the App
CPR.
Store, on Apple's App Store, there's 271,000 people that have downloaded it, and it's got like a 4.8 rating as far as an app goes, so.
And you could have a CPR class and get people certified?
Oh yeah, we do them all the time, and like I said, we can teach a whole entire church hands-on CPR. It depends if they want to be certified. If it's certified, it's a longer process. It's about a whole day. But if it's just hands-on CPR and stop the bleed, we can do that in 20 minutes. Teach 250 people how to do it, and that's the basic. That made CPR a lot easier. So.
I mean, really, if you look at that map, that big blue area along with that large yellow area, I mean, this is, we talk about this a lot in our committee, just trying to really, how do we respond to these areas that are way out, that, do take time. I mean, we seconds count. And so how do we protect those people in those areas that, even, up northern part of my area and all the way out to the Garrett line off of 52, if you can notify somebody that's out that, or in those areas and get that CPR started or whatever it is.
I have some data on that. I'm really excited to say. The first page is just a geospatial demand map. That means we can take all of our incidents out of our electronic health software and plug it into this mapping software, and it points where all the emergencies are. These are 911 calls. So. On the second page is we had to manually do this, is to go through every single, every day we have a run log that the supervisor keeps up, and we just had to manually go through and count the entire month of July, and it gives you an idea of runs by districts. Now we kind of had the idea to kind of set it up like kind of fire districts, like county fire districts, but we also wanted to make sure that we included Old Bridge, like in that area. So if we start at the top, it's Danville, it's 54%. So 54% of our runs were made in the city of Danville. Ephraim McDowell was 23%. Danville County is, the Old Bridge area is 11, so 1.59. North Point is 3%. We go there a lot, obviously. And
Getting paid from there or no?
it's some of it.
Yeah.
Junction City is 6.52. Perros is 3%. Parksville is 2.17%. Mitchellsburg is about 1%, and then Mercer County is 0.43, and then we did a run for Lincoln County, which is 0.14. So we're going to continue to bring these numbers to you to help you understand. I want the public to know that in our EMS committee and in our judges meeting, we talk about this almost every time. We want to be everywhere that people want us to be or when they need us. It's just we have to also be fiscally responsible. And so if you have over here, there's no EMS service at all, and over here, there's a paramedic for every person in Boyle County, we want to be in the middle and be fiscally responsible to be effective. And so we're looking at it all the time. So hopefully these numbers help illustrate that.
I don't think it's as much fiscally responsible as in you take the data and you kind of place yourself. I mean, just because EMS building is one place, that doesn't mean that's where your providers are. You've got them stationed out all over the county based on historical data,
These numbers just back up my request for you all to be stationed out in different places in the county. And so I want to thank you for being stationed, because I see truck in Perros almost every morning. Not every, but almost every morning there's a truck in Perros. During school traffic time and going to work time, the high volume time. So I want to thank you for that. But these numbers just back that up, is that, you've got 3% in Perros, you've got 2% in Parksville, and 1% in Hettsmansperger, and those are your farthest, besides Forkland, outlying areas. And so I just think it's important that we continue doing that and have a truck, in those areas from as much as we can. I know with 54% being in Danville, you can't have it there 24 hours a day. I get it, but.
But this is also the important conversation we keep having with Ephraim McDowell, why we need to limit those runs that they keep sending us on. Because if they're utilizing 2 of our ambulances to go to Lexington constantly, we only have 1 to cover the whole county at certain points of the day. So, and that is a conversation we're having, with them. We met with them not too long ago, and might continue to meet with them to try to figure this out.
What does the piece of equipment that we've got at our church and many of the churches have, what does that cost?
So the AEDs, they're automatic external defibrillators. There's one right out here, seeing the malls, aircrafts. They run from about $1,200 to about $2,000. So they're a lot more affordable than they've been in the
You've offered, and I haven't followed through with you, to come and train at our church. It would be, I'm looking at, just how remote some of us are. And I may start trying to encourage folks I know from several of the churches where I've spoken as a Gideon, A, to consider trying to buy one, and B, certainly with or without one, getting a CPR class centralized somewhere where you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Mike and I spoke yesterday about this very thing. And I said, let's look for a grant to where maybe we could purchase some of these AEDs.
That would be fabulous.
And figure out some way to distribute them to people with heart conditions in remote areas, or at a community center in an area.
The city of Danville got some for all of their squad cars several years ago. They threw a grant.
And that would be a good idea too.
We applied through the Ephraim McDowell Foundation, EMS did, and got some for the city of Danville, and then we also got some for the sheriff's office from the Kentucky Department of Public Health.
Would an individual, myself, run and get it at church and use it on someone without any training?
Well, you can, ideally, there is training.
To save a life.
But if
there's a video that you can watch, but you gotta take the time to watch the video to know how to do it.
It tells you what to do. If you turn it on, it's gonna tell you what to do. Check for pulse, and then apply pads, and then there's a big, but you don't, it's different. You need to intentionally go look at it first, because when you're in the moment,
panic mode to try to.
When you're in the moment, you don't think as well as you probably would.
Yeah.
How do we get you guys to some of the festivals? I was just thinking about some of these, like the Forkland Festival. I was thinking about.
Berryville comes up.
Berryville's,
the week before.
Anywhere that people are having like booths set up, like even like in Junction for the Halloween parade, where people can just come. And you guys, your whole thing's always been like, if I could just teach people hands-on CPR. Have you guys kind of thought
have
about
an AED there?
Well, an AED, but more along the lines of also the hands-on CPR as well, where instead of scheduling like a class at Tom's church,
Mhm.
you know we're gonna have, several hundred to 1,000 people at this event come through or whatever. Kind of like where we have Terry and Mark set up at some, the
It'd be
block
great,
party
man.
would be a
Yeah.
great thing.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
The first and second weekend of October.
Any festival or community event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
that's.
then you're there, if there's an event, untoward event.
Especially if we're rolling out this app
Mhm.
where you can now have, something like a QR code where somebody can
Yeah.
scan the app and just
That's a good way to promote that.
promote that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, one thing that we've tried it a
Talk
lot.
to Jim.
I've personally
Chair of the EMS committee.
tried it. I went to Lowe's one day and set up, and people they're busy, they just walk right past. You gotta have something for them, like you gotta have like a pen or like some kind of something to give them, because otherwise
Yeah.
they're not talking to you. But now if
Right.
you give them something,
Right.
they're willing to do whatever.
Yeah.
We went to the Boyle County football games and done it there, but people don't want it unless you've got something to give them. They don't want to do it. So.
Mhm.
No, I mean, and that we figure out from a promotional budget
Yeah.
to get some
Yeah.
stuff, but I think if people are there and
Yeah.
other booths are set up,
Mhm.
I mean, heck, even the farmer's market, on Saturdays would be a good one
Yeah,
to
I hadn't thought of farmers.
kind of
That's
be
a good
at
idea.
as well. And yeah, I mean, if you want to
Constitution Square
Farmers Market.
Festival's coming up in
Yeah.
a couple of weeks.
You want to focus on the ones that are primary. You want, not that teaching CPR to everybody's, because that's great, but I want to focus on the ones that hit primarily Boyle County. I think the farmers market's a really good idea.
farmer's market, Forkland Festival, because you're getting Parksville, Forkland Festival, Mitchellsburg, Junction. You're getting these people that
They're coming.
they're coming,
Mhm.
they're going to be there, and you're going to hit people you may not hit other things. I mean, you're going to have to go to the masses as well.
Yeah.
And we can print something out after they do the little hands-on CPR. Hey, download this pulse point app.
Yeah.
Have some bottles of hand sanitizer or something, that just goes along with medical. I mean,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, put that on the agenda for the next EMS committee meeting,
We'll do.
and along with ideas for promotional money
We'll
needed.
do. Do we need to do anything to start it this year? Or can I just go ahead and set up the pulse point account, or
No,
there's no money
you got to work
due,
with,
so just-
like Julie said, you got to work with Bill, because
Bill?
if there's going to be an app that the county is going to
Yeah.
be responsible for paying in the future,
Okay.
we need to be.
Yeah.
You work with Bill, work with Eric, and
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Just get with Bill. And then we'll come back to these other two once we find an attorney to review.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Okay, as our agenda says, it is subject to change. So item 12 will be rescheduled at the next meeting, Parks and Rec Director Tommy Barton. And then item 13 will also be rescheduled once we have that
Now we need
committee.
to appoint me to the committee.
We're gonna appoint you, okay, that wasn't the other one, okay, my bad. All right.
do we have a
need-
signed agreement for the formation of the committee?
I don't think so.
We don't.
I don't think we do.
So we can't really appoint you until we actually have a formed committee. That was supposed to be, Earl was supposed to get us that for the last 6 months. So,
Okay, I thought we had done that.
We did our part, I think. I don't have an executed agreement, no.
You don't have an executed agreement?
No.
Okay. All right, well, we're gonna postpone that then until the next meeting. Mr. Gay?
You can't be appointed to a committee that's not been formed.
That's not a committee, I mean,
You won't get to pay until we get you.
I think the city did their part, we did our part, but we need to get that agreement executed, the interlocal kind of.
Right.
okay, was not aware we did not have a signed copy, or we would not have put that on the agenda. All right, so I'm going to add at this point, we have hired a new economic development president, CEO, that is present with us today, Grayson Evans. And Grayson, I'd like to have you come up and just introduce yourself to the court. I think most of us know you anyway, and you can just tell us a little bit about your vision for economic development going forward.
Judge,
Welcome.
magistrates of the court, thank you. I'm Grayson Evans. I am the new appointed president and CEO of the Development Corporation here in Danville. Start on Tuesday of next week, so just 1 week away, and I'm very excited. Judge, Magistrate Cullen, thank you all for the votes of confidence at the Development Corporation board meeting. most of you all probably know that I've been over in Harrisburg, Mercer County for the last couple of years. And, you know, I think that for the first time in a long time, there's been substantial industrial activity in Mercer County. And that's something that I'm very, very proud of. But I can't tell you my life story without telling you that Danville's my home, and I love it here. Came to school at Center College and got stuck and never left Kentucky. You know, the good Lord's been making a home for me for a long time.
Donors, one of your $100 donors right there.
I was sitting back there squirming, saying this is economic development.
I'm just teasing.
And we need to get into the wallets of the center grads. Well, I'm one of them.
Think of the leadership role you'd be playing.
And so, for this community, I think industrial revitalization and shaking things up is something that we can definitely achieve. You know, we've got good product in the Stegall Business Park and on the EDA's property. A couple of buildings we need to fill. But this is a community that's always been the micropolitan hub for this area. You know, that we need to maintain that identity, and I think we have an opportunity to continue to grow. I mean, you've seen substantial commercial and retail development in this community, and with absolutely no disrespect intended towards anything that we've done over the last few years in economic development, I do think we've taken our eye off the ball a little bit on industry and manufacturing, and so really looking forward to building relationships with all the partners that I'll need to have relationships with, and better understanding what we can do to put our best foot forward to try to win a few projects over the next few years.
Yeah.
So,
We're looking forward to that.
Time, but yeah, happy to answer any questions that you all might have. But I'm honored and I'm excited to get started next week.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
And I guess one of my things they've heard me say over and over again is I don't disagree. We've got to continue to work on those big projects, and we need to land some of those. But I'm a big believer that the driving force of our economic development is our mom and pop shops.
Sure.
And that's where our jobs are really created. And I've long said, you know, I would just soon help our citizens and others create these small businesses. You know, if we can create 50 small businesses that can be sustainable, that employ 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 employees each year, that's a lot of job growth and economic development in 1 year.
Measuring economic development can be a complicated thing in that those 3 or 4 jobs at a small business like that mean the world to those families who were here, that, you know, that's their paycheck, that's their livelihood. And so you're right, it's definitely not only about securing that 200 or 300 jobber that's coming in, it's about making sure that we, the community, have resources that are available for those folks to be able to succeed.
Right, so that whole incubation of those and how they pay their taxes, and the fact that they are supposed to pay taxes, and all of that education and training that goes into people's good ideas, and that, you know, and all of our restaurants that we have in this community at one time or another, you know, especially those franchises, they started as a mom and pop operation that was a good idea that then became a great idea, and now we all eat, you know, a lot of us eat at those establishments. So those are the type of things that I'm thinking of, because I'm sure we can have some franchise-worthy things that develop out of this community as well.
Well, that's what the judge can tell you every time we're in economic development meetings talking about, you know, channel inner Jamey of small businesses, because it's much easier for us, I feel, to help a small business turn into a next large business that's already established here, instead of trying to constantly recruit places to come here, because you start thinking, okay, well, they left another place to come here, you know, there's not that kind of loyalty. But if we can, you know, we have examples around us of Pittman Creek in Lincoln County, you know, Goose Creek in Casey County, that these small businesses just kind of exploded. And so if we can help them get to that next level, those small businesses will stay here, because, you know, of the loyalty that the community has had for them. You know, we've got a little rock quarry right over, not too far from here that has kind of exploded into a much bigger group, you know, and so.
New industrial recruitment is always only going to be a fractional portion
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
job.
And that's
Real
important.
growth is easiest to secure, be it big employers you've already got or the small, dealing with known quantities and known folks who have already made the investment. It's easier and it's probably better for us. Jamie, I'm promoting an event that I had no hand in putting together, but I know that the Development Corporation, in tight partnership with the Chamber, has an entrepreneurship blueprint course that starts in September. Great. It's kind of a 5-week program for folks who want to start a business in Danville and Boyle County. Great. And I think it's kind of everything from where do I even begin to getting my business license and forming an LLC on down the line.
And we have two.
Go ahead.
We have two community centers that are going to be coming up, and one in Perros, one in Junction, and that we want to use those resources to help get to the people that maybe can't come to Danville, so we can put some of those classes when they get built.
Sure.
And put some of those things in those areas, you know.
Set up events that can meet people where they are.
Right.
You may either not understand, going back a number of years, our EDP circumstances, or you were being very kind.
Right.
And I think we'll need to meet privately, because I started bothering them the year we moved here 25 years, well, not 25 years ago, but soon after. And you'll hear more about that in our go-around. But I'll say it now for the record. Having come from a corporation that dealt with Frankfurt on a $100 million contract, I do understand confidentiality.
Sure.
However, the judge's predecessor sitting in here exploded when we lost an employer of over 100 because the EDP director didn't tell the judge, didn't tell the mayor, and didn't tell the gentleman who is the past statewide president of the Kentucky Association of Counties, who sat right here in this seat. We've got a confidential circumstance going on. And any one of those three absolutely had the personal relationships with the owner of that company that has now doubled in size over the past few years, because the EDP director never told a soul. Sure. You cannot do that. You have got to tell probably the judge, the mayor, and perhaps one or two of the folks sitting here right now who are involved on economic development committees. That was a travesty, and sadly it's one of many. And I hope you'll stay for the go-around, because I've got another one that's totally frustrating. And in 4 months, you won't have to put up with me. Or no, I'll be a private citizen.
I
see those chains unleashed.
I assure you that I will do my absolute best to use sound discretion and to come to you all when the time is appropriate, when we have.
The rest of us don't know and don't need to know if the judge, the mayor, and most likely one or two in the economic service centers.
Well, I spoke with the city manager last night on the same topic a little bit, and my intent is to be very, very collaborative with city and county. Certainly, I don't mean to be too informal in the way that I say it, but we don't want to bite the hand that feeds as an organization, A, and B, you know, I would like you all to have the confidence and trust in me enough that we might come to you all someday and say, we've got a great opportunity and we need your help bringing incentives to bear to make this work. Or, you know.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you as a member on the Economic Development Corporation how excited, you know, I was to hear, you know, when we found out about the opening, you know, that there was a name that came right to my mind that said, man, it would be fantastic if this person would, you know, possibly apply. I wasn't on the hiring committee, didn't even know that he applied, and then when we were made privy to who was selected, I was extremely excited. I think this is going to be a great rejuvenation for economic development in Boyle County, and just, you know, knowing Grayson's passion for this community and for economic development is just a win-win for us. So, welcome.
Thank you.
We're very excited
Thank
that
you
you are
very
here. Are you familiar with the R.R. Donnelly zoning problem? Have you been briefed on that at all?
I need to be filled in.
Okay.
Be filled in.
So it's something I need to bring to the court anyway, so you may be able to help me if I stumble. The R&R Donnelly building that is in the county is zoned agriculture. Now, why it's never been changed, I don't know. But everything else in the industrial park is zoned industrial. So looking at potential buyers, it is owned by absent owners. The owners are not here. They have enlisted in a third-party company to do the selling or whatever of the building should someone be interested. But I don't think anybody is going to be, and this is where I'll need your help, is going to be interested in a building in an industrial park that is zoned agriculture. So I would have to have your all's permission to go before planning and zoning to request a zone change for that building to be rezoned to industrial.
So question, how many acres do they have?
I don't know.
I think it's 11.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, now that'll.
The Donnelly building?
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion by Master Gay, second by Master Sleeper.
All right.
11, that's what I'm being told.
No, is it the building itself?
The Donnelly building's pushing 800,000 square feet under roof, so it's probably 25 acres under roof.
Okay.
It's on about a 100-acre lot, and I believe those same owners have another couple hundred acres that are connected to that property, a separate parcel. No, it's a big building.
Yeah.
Well, now for my crazy idea of the day,
327 acres.
we need a new fairgrounds. Is there any
We have a
parcel
fairgrounds.
or, well, not really.
They own it, don't
They own it.
They own that property.
Mhm.
The Fair Board owns that property where it's at.
I know, but that's down a hill and down by a creek.
But that's what they bought for the
I
fairgrounds.
know. I know.
So let's stay on
I don't
the
think they're
motion.
gonna move now.
Tom,
Let's stay on the
4 months,
motion.
Tom's running for the Fair Board.
It's, well,
Do you have a second?
I want to show respect for it, but it's not the type of land that would really invite a lot of people down there. Or
Yeah,
members.
I don't think they're gonna move.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor of allowing me to go before the Planning and Zoning Board and request a zone change on the R&R Donnelly building from agriculture to industrial, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, so we
Thank
got
you,
that
Judge.
done.
Yeah, happy to help with materials.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Looking forward to the opportunity.
Thanks for being
Thank
here
you.
Oh,
today.
don't leave. I want you to hear the goal.
Well, do you have to be somewhere?
I'm okay for a little while.
Okay.
He's
Well,
technically not on the clock with us right now.
Right.
So.
I understand that.
when you have to leave, you just go ahead. All right. All right.
Watch the tape.
Next up is County Administrator, Julie Wagner.
Tommy Owens' grandson owns that fair.
Yeah, I didn't think that the Fair Board owned that.
Oh,
They
Tommy Owens still
They
owns it?
purchased
Okay.
some property on Crispin Lane at one point. After that.
It
so-
may be
There you go. Tom.
reasonable, Tom.
Hey, folks, that's an unfortunate secondhand place to have our fair.
Okay, so as part of the pickleball project, we need to engage a contract to test the surfaces, the materials that they lay on the court. So for $8,400, Thoroughbred Design, Engineering, and Construction will test the concrete to make sure it's the proper consistency so it doesn't crack and buckle. And again, they'll come back and test the asphalt to ensure it's the quality that we want. And this is in the budget. It'll come out of the $50,000 contingency line, which we knew there would be little things. So I'm asking for your approval to have the judge sign this contract and get the testing underway.
You said 8,000?
8,400.
Okay, so motion by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Bodner. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. I will sign it for court. Okay, next up, I am happy to announce and present the deed of conveyance between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet, Department of Parks, to the Boyle County Fiscal Court, Danville, Kentucky, ownership of Crawford Springs Park.
So moved.
So need a motion to approve. Measured Ellis, is there a second?
Second.
Measured Cullen. All right, any discussion on the deed of conveyance? It will be signed after the vote is taken and then returned back to the Finance Administration Cabinet for signatures on the state level, and then it'll be returned to us for recording.
I worked with the state, and there was a couple
And you've
of
reviewed all this.
things that I wanted, and they didn't really have a description on there, so I prepared one which they approved, and they copied and pasted that. And then there was a part on there about the consideration, because it kind of looked like we were buying it. How the old one, it seemed as if we were paying $50,000 for it. So I wanted to make sure it says this is a gift. You know, there's no consideration. The PBA has, valued this at approximately $50,000. So they fixed that as well. So I'm good. I approve.
Okay, so I will read the description. It's the property being conveyed herein being all of Lot 2, containing 4.1899 acres more or less, is shown by retracement and subdivision plat titled Crawford House Property, which is attached to the deed, which was prepared by Indris Engineering and recorded on April the 12th, 2022. And that's all that is there anything else I need to?
No.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Judge, first of all, thank you, Attorney Herron. This is one that I hold near and dear. I read every word. It's so critical. There are things we can and can't do, but we've got control of it. I've got to say for the record that if Harold Edwards had not pounded on every office in Frankfort that could have had any thing to do with this, starting with the Parks Commissioner and ending time and time again with Finance and the judge as well, and the Governor's right-hand man, Rocky Atkins, that the judge bothered more than most people could get away with. But this is critical. The state, one after another, is either deaccessioning anyway or ignoring properties like what we have. Harold Edwards stunned the judge and me 2 weeks ago in a Public Works Committee talking about the potential for this to be a park. He went down and took 14 pictures in and outside of the Boy Scout camp, and I thought the roof had collapsed because of all the trees growing in and out of the whole building, but it's structurally sound and the roof is okay. There is so much that can be done with this 4+ acres, including protecting not only it, but essentially having the Crawford House now in private hands, but protecting and securing it as well. It will be gated to go down to the Chaplain River because, believe it or not, there were folks my age in this community that used to party down there, and other things that went on down there. And Mike's looking like he's guilty. But in all seriousness, this will be a park yet to be named that will be an extraordinary asset and its historic value, knowing that the brass was upstairs in the Crawford House and down the hill at the river, the one flowing area of water in that part of the county was an everlasting stream out of the cliff. And while the brass was up top in the Crawford House, hundreds of troops with their horses were down there sustaining themselves for the battle. So this is just a tremendous get for the county, and I look forward to working with everybody, including next year. We're going to take the stones from the now fallen down weighing station at the quarry at our convenience center. And we're gonna build, and I'm gonna hopefully list some Eagle Scout candidates to learn how to lay stone and have a beautiful wing on each side of a magnificent gate, which we will have to put out for bids, because I know the low end and the high end cost of these types of gates, and it would be lucky to get it for 10. It probably will be as much as $20,000, because it will have a computerized system where the judge or somebody else can punch a button on a computer and decide the sun goes down at 9 o'clock in the summer, it goes down at 5 o'clock in the winter, and people are in and people are out, so that there are no hooligans down there like there might have been years ago. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. We are very excited to have this back in our possession, and can't wait to see what happens going forward. So, all right. With that being said, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It was a collaborative effort, and so we just appreciate everyone that was involved in getting that back into county possession. Next is the agreement for McKinney's cleaning service. This is the 1-year rollover agreement from last year. We need to include a COLA of 2.7%. What was the amount, Julie?
$1,700.
$1,700, okay.
$1,768.
Okay.
Close to that.
So that will need to be included if you all approve.
So moved.
Second with the COLA.
Okay, we have a motion by Magistrate Gay, a second by Magistrate Cullen to approve the agreement with the McKinney Cleaning Service and add a COLA of 2.7%. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. I tried to get Larry to come in here and celebrate this agreement, but he said he wasn't going to do it. Let's see. I think that is all that I have. We are down to Treasurer Hannah Gray.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Put the treasurer's monthly settlement in your packet for you to review. Just need acknowledgement of that.
Acknowledged.
Court acknowledged. Okay, all right.
And my other item is the tax rate. We need to set the tax rate for the coming property tax season.
Finance Committee has met
Finance
regarding the
Committee met
rate.
yesterday. They said the compensating rate, which is 5.5% for the property tax and the personal property.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Gray. Gray, I don't know where that came. Grayson, maybe that came out of you. I don't know. Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Cullen. Any discussion? It is not an increase. It is a decrease. So
Yeah, the rate goes down.
rate goes down. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. We're up to magistrate reports and Magistrate Harmon. We will start with you today.
I'll be glad to start it off. I'll pass it to Magistrate over to my left. Have nothing.
There you go.
Magistrate Cullen.
This morning, the Boyle County Sheriff's Office Committee met. It was myself and Magistrate Sleeper, along with TJ Kyle and Sheriff Barton. We discussed the 2 new deputies will be graduating and joining us soon. Sheriff's Department's very excited because there's normally you kind of like they come in and you just release them, but now there's more training that they'll get through here. There's an 8-week period before they actually kind of get go out there, and so they're getting a lot of education and a lot of knowledge, familiar with everything on how it works. So we're excited that they'll be joining us as well. I'd asked them about some information on accidents. We've had a large increase of accidents along 34 from
the Garrett County line up until where Lexington Avenue and 2168 meet. And from their rough numbers, since May 1st, there's been 12 accidents in that area, specifically the Taylor Road and Old Lexington Road. Most of them are rear ends. And so this further strengthens our request to the state to fix that road, give us some turn lanes, whatever we can do through there, some better mowing to help get that line of sight. So Judge and myself have been in contact with Kelly Baker from District 7, and also we've included Daniel and Amanda to help us with that. Deputies are doing well. We've got a good morale going through here, and so we're very excited with the all the work that our first responders, especially the sheriff's office, is it's a good group of people. We're very excited that these new deputies will be adding soon, and that will help get the people we need out there and double up on some shifts that have always had like one person on them. So we're excited. So I'll go ahead and submit that report as my motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
The Finance Committee met loosely on Monday as well. We discussed the compensating rate along with a couple other things, and it was a good meeting. And so I'll go ahead and submit that as well as a motion.
All right. A second?
Second.
Mr. Gay, have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
One thing that I had actually discussed with Julie before is looking at our website. I haven't been able to find exactly what all of our tax rates are for Boyle County. So if somebody comes in like, hey, I want to find out what my taxes are going to be, net profits, personal, all this stuff, and we don't have it listed. So I like to ask that we go ahead and it doesn't have to be anything specific, it can be on a Microsoft Word, PDF, whatever, and just ask that the IT director be able to put that up on the website.
Yeah, I just need to put something together. Bill will put
Are you asking tax rates specific, or are you asking, like, if I have a $100,000 home, what's my taxes going to be based on where that property's located?
No, just
Individual.
Right.
Just our various rates. If
Like
I pull
5.5 is the county and,
Yep.
okay.
If I were to pull up,
0.9% is the occupation.
Well, we just need to make sure we update that because we don't want to
Right.
like neglect that and then somebody come in here and say, well, it's false advertising, I moved here, and then.
well, yeah,
Put a date on it, put a date that you did it.
correct, yeah. So
So you want all the individual taxing districts?
yeah. So I can send this over. Like I have an example for Woodford County. They have theirs where the state, fire, library, county, school, health, extension, what the cities are.
Okay.
And
That would be
those are
helpful.
very important and helpful because people get that tax bill from us every year, and they're like, "Oh, my taxes in Boyle County are crazy. These people in Boyle County are crazy. I have to pay all this money," and then they never really look to see what the actual individual taxes are because if they saw what they pay in county taxes,
It's a very small percentage.
very small percentage. It's probably one of the lowest actually on there.
In the state. In the state.
Yeah,
We
well,
have one of the lowest tax rates in the state.
We do, but even within our county, the library, the extension office, charges more than what we charge,
Right.
on a lot of these things. So I think it's important for people to be able to see that and understand.
And if the
Good
advocate
idea.
picks up on that, I would hope that they would say something to the effect that we have zero control to a point, but we have zero control over special taxing districts, the ones that Manager Colleen is talking about.
We should put a disclaimer, tax rates are subject to change, please contact so-and-so
Well,
for
that's a good
exact.
idea, yes.
Right.
Should get our attorney
Rates are
involved now.
set by individual districts as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, correct.
Good idea.
Correct. I mean, you could even go above and beyond and say, okay, these these rates are, established at this time period, whatever. But I think it's important that we have them. It helps when people are coming in to see about opening a business here. What are their taxes, or people moving here, whatever. So, anyway, so that was just an ask. Big news I'm excited for is we've got a grand opening date for our skate park. And this is something that's I've personally been working on for several years, and I'm very grateful to the court to getting the funding from last year and this year to complete this park. It's going to be one of the nicest parks, probably within 100 miles.
Yep.
The only one close that is really going to be as nice as is Louisville's got a really big skate park, but it's outdated.
It's dated. I was going to say it's dated.
Very dated, and so September 19th is the grand opening. We're still working on the times. Parks and Rec will be putting out flyers and information on what's going to be there, but it'd be nice. Our park designer and builders are working with some of their professional skateboarders to be able to come to this event, which would be kind of cool. I think they've got a couple people coming up from Florida at this point that are going to come, and we're going to be cooking out and stuff like that. So it's going to be a great day for the skate park. And this was a good collaboration between the county and the city. We're splitting this one 50-50, and so it's good. And hopefully the old ramps that have been there for 20 years are going to be put to use somewhere else too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's all I have. I think we all know who we want to close in memory today, but Judge, I'll let you make that announcement.
Thank you, Master Collins. Master Gay.
I don't have anything. I've been, as you all know, I appreciate your patience when I've been traveling out and about a lot, keeping up best I can. I did wear my Kentucky blue in memory of the person we'll close in honor of today, that I want to issue my sincere condolences to our county attorney and her family and the rest.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Welcome back, and thankful you had safe travels.
Thank you.
Master Sleeper.
Last week attended the governor's local issues conference along with Magistrate Colleen and Magistrate Ellis and some of the court staff. I was really pleased to go into a session with the Kentucky Workforce System and Reentry Program, and Director Aaron Pointer, first thing he talked about was our Boyle County Detention RISE program success and the partnership that we have there, and very successful. And he talked about the OSHA 10 CPR and forklift operator certification that our county inmates are going to be receiving. And just really, really cool, I live no loss from Boyle County, so whatever. So, but anyway, I believe the graduation ceremony is this evening.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock at the detention center.
Yes,
so
everyone's invited.
Come to that.
Very special cake.
That's
all right.
That's it.
All right, thank you, Master Sleeper. Master Dallas.
Thank you. First of all, Ann Sleet has been so nice to me, even before I ran for office, and I've always kept up with her birthday. There's a new feature on Facebook that is absolutely stunning. After they show you how many people have responded, they show just people who have looked at a post. I put a post on a week or 10 days ago about Mayor Sleet's birthday, and 164 people responded nicely. 6,600 people must have opened it with a smile, which is really indicative of the wonderful lady that she is, and everybody wanted to at least acknowledge her birthday.
You say 6,600?
6,600 people.
Wow.
Probably mainly Boyle Countyans, but she was known all over the state as mayor. So that was very delighting to see that people do care for her every bit as much as we do. I've said enough at this point about Crawford Park, and just so excited to have that land back, Judge. Thank you.
Yes.
And Magistrate Sleeper mentioned rise tonight, so let's all rise to the occasion, because that is a critical program and getting great feedback. Mentioning Kelly Baker, not only did Kelly take care of Perryville Road when the weeds got a bit too high, but he's committed to do it again before our festival in October. And when we were driving back from Louisville the other day, I know blindfolded how to get off the highway and get back home, but the tree covering that exit was so huge that I contacted Kelly, and within a day he reported that he'd contacted his colleague in whatever district that is, and that tree's going to be trimmed if not cut down, because especially at night, but anybody traveling coming to Danville, Boyle County, the Harrodsburg, Historic, you can't see it in the daytime to get off. So that's just one of the kind of things that we can all do, contributing things across the state. This is why I wanted you to be here. And my heart goes out talking about John K. Wood. He took me under his wing within, I know it was 3 years, probably 2, because I was bothering people in here to death, having spent my whole career in Frankfort and Washington, and I wanted to see what the city and the county were doing governmentally. And he said, well, with your crazy interests, why don't you start coming to the EDP meetings? I've always said we need a plaque in that sitting area just across from where you check out books, because every EDP meeting that I started to go to 23 or 24 years ago, he wanted to debrief with me on what went on. Well, before a meeting, I told John that Martha Lane Collins sent me to Japan for a month-long business study tour, all related to Toyota. I mean, this poor kid from South End of Louisville could not believe that opportunity. The reason I bring it up, everywhere I went, people would mention 2 things they knew about Kentucky, and the Derby was not one of them. Kentucky Fried Chicken. And stunningly, because I was there representing healthcare to some degree, because we wanted the contract to Toyota, Ephraim McDowell. I was so ecstatic that I tested it with John. I said, now John, I think this was, 2003. So we had plenty of time to plan. I said, John, we could have, with that knowledge in Japan alone, and Germans who have contributed so much over the last 300 years to healthcare, and the Swiss who've done, and so many around the world, we in tiny little Boyle County, Kentucky, could hold a World Health Congress. If you don't know every minute detail of what happened on Christmas Day, I'll hit it briefly. Jane Todd Crawford was 9 months pregnant and holding. The horse doctors in south central Kentucky, down below Columbia, almost 70 miles away, thought, wow, this is bad. We got to get that guy Ephraim McDowell. He, in late November, rode horseback down to remote area outside Columbia, Kentucky. He had to cross the Green River, I think it is, on horseback, because there were no bridges, in cold weather. He got there, he sent the husband and the 2 boys outside the crude log cabin, and he said, this lady's not pregnant. She had a 22-pound ovarian tumor. With the exception of Caesar, the C-section that we know today, and mom died. No one had ever invaded a woman's body the way he dared to the point where on Christmas Day the sermon by his own pastor was that Ephraim McDowell was of the devil to even think about touching a woman this way, to excise a 22-pound tumor.
rumored, and a physician friend of mine argues that this is not correct, but it's part of the lore. The sheriff bought a brand new rope just in case Jane Todd Crawford passed away in the surgery. Jane Todd Crawford was such an extraordinary Christian that her anesthetic was singing hymns. The surgery lasted just over an hour. His nephew assisted in the surgery. And with all of that and a longer presentation, may have been 5 minutes, uncharacteristic of me, it should have been 20. I, with John's encouragement, was put on the agenda to talk about a World Health Congress by your predecessor by many years, EDP director. And just as we lost a major employer, when the minutes came out, I said, John, did you read the minutes? There was no mention whatsoever of a World Health Congress. Well, we had over 50 people from around the world on the date of Ephraim McDowell's death. And by the way, he died at 58 of a burst appendix, virtually a cakewalk compared to what he had done to save the life of this woman. And we had a meeting of people from around the country. Over 50 came in from out of the county, and we had a celebration of his death and some great events with all the people who traveled from around the country. And imagine what we could have on the 2020 anniversary of when we missed the 200th anniversary. I will help in any way I can with former colleagues in healthcare administration, physicians, nurses. Everybody can get credits for doing something like this. So we'd certainly have a lot of people from the United States. It would book way beyond to the point where we'd have to shuttle people from Harrodsburg and all the way to Lexington to get them in here. But can you imagine how we can put the world can understand who we are in Boyle County when a life-saving procedure that by now has saved millions of women's lives in the same circumstance of an ovarian tumor. So I just had to bring that up today and say we missed it on the 200th, but 2020 kind of sounds good. I mean 2027, I'm sorry, for the 220th of the surgery. But 220 years later on 20, and by the way, I did it to where we had 5 or 6 years to plan. We've got planning time. So please, it would be so easy to put that first salvo out to people to let them get on a calendar 2 years out. So thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Thank you. Mr. Boner. Pine Knob Trails still coming along. We're looking at the new entrance. Still need a report on that grade change from grade 9 to 10, what the HR's come up with. I want to keep looking into that. I called Josh Morgan about the EDA property, but didn't get to talk to him yesterday. The Balloon Festival, still getting really good reports about how good the Balloon Festival was. Let's see, the 250th committee, the last meeting is today, I believe, at 2 o'clock. And Public Works had somebody complain about a big tree that was dangerous with the limbs over the road, and the next day they took it down. And so, of course, the constituents are saying, "Oh, good job, Paula." I said, "I didn't do a thing."
Yes, you did. In committee, you sure did.
I said, "They did it." So, Public Works really does a good job with complaints of things that could be very dangerous. And that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you.
I think you kind of need to highlight the Balloon Festival, what we were discussing earlier with the Brass Band Festival. You know, you've got a one-day event that's about 7,000 to 10,000 people. What was it, 5 hours? You know, and they made the modifications needed without making it too big or whatever. So
it's kind of interesting to see that it's there, and with the right stuff, you can draw in the people.
It was well attended.
Yes,
yeah.
it was.
Yes.
I mean,
It's-
And everything seemed so seamless. I mean, it just like, I know there's problems and things behind the scenes that you don't see,
Yeah.
but from the outside looking in,
It was good.
was well
Well,
run.
It's, they're looking into next year, because the Brass Brand Festival is an example of how it can get too much money going into it and needing outside help, but they're looking into, finding ways to bring money in that won't that won't be as like it is right now. So they're going to improve it. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
oh
better.
yeah, well, it takes doing it and then looking at it and seeing what needs to be changed and what can be done different.
but I mean, Junction City Voices this is their second year.
Yeah,
doing it.
right.
Junction Voices.
Yeah.
Junction Voices.
Junction Voices, yeah.
It's like the pine knot. I gotta figure out which. I can
Yeah, I
call it.
know, yeah.
But it's the second year doing it, they really listened to what didn't go as smoothly the first year and really just hammered it out this year. And so we've got.
Well, a good example is the food trucks. The first year there wasn't that many, but now this year there was tons of food trucks and they were all busy.
And they all still did well.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
great.
All busy. All right, thank you. County Attorney.
Yes, last week was a rough week. Liz and Tina Cox, she's been with me for 8 years. I asked Richard Campbell, I saw him at visitation. He couldn't remember when she exactly joined his office, but she'd been there for a little bit also prior to me, and with Lindsay as well. So it's going to be hard to replace her. And thank you all for coming out and supporting our office. It's going to be a big search to find somebody that's halfway even fill her shoes. So I did go to the prosecutors conference last week.
Chris, before you go on from Rita, at the visitation, Rusty kind of crushed me because he knew I'd talk to her anytime I walked by the office, and we always talked about basketball. He turned around and looked and he said, "I can't believe it. UK sports folks sent the biggest flower arrangement." When you say that she was on a first name basis with Mark Pope, she was. She really was. She was a wonderful lady.
Very wonderful lady. And, but our office still has to move forward, and so I went ahead and went to the prosecutors conference. So it wasn't going to conflict with any visitation or anything like that. It was actually a good thing I went because all the staff there at the prosecutors conference, or was at the prosecutors conference from PAC, so they were able to help me through some things with Tina to help Rusty and so forth. So it was really good. I can't tell you I remember a whole lot about the conference though, because all this going through my mind, it still does, about her death, but she will never be forgotten. And again, thank you guys, and it's great if we can close in her honor today. That's it.
Okay. Julie?
If everybody could check your calendars real quick. I'm proposing a bond workshop with R.J. Palmer for September 3rd from 10 to noon. Thursday, September 3rd from 10 to noon. Does that suit everybody? This will be for R.J. to walk us through the bonding process, set a number that we feel comfortable with, give Shannon some time to get numbers together, budget numbers.
You said 10 until 12?
10 till noon. I don't know that it'll take 2 hours, but I
Okay.
think we should block that off just to be safe. And this is for the EMS building. Does that work for everybody?
Yep.
Okay, I'll confirm that with him. We had a meeting week before last with the architect and the engineering team to start going through the building. Do you want this? Do you want that? What kind of toilet do you want? What kind of shower do you want? And we did not make it through all sections of the building. It's quite involved, so we will be having another meeting, possibly after that bonding meeting. We'll see. Pine Knob Trails, I believe we're getting close to closing on that property. There is a grant that I learned about at the Governor's Local Issue Conference for recreational trails. It is just opened, due October 30th. I would like to apply for funds to do the trailhead part of that, which would be a bathroom and signage and picnic tables and those kind of things. So I just want to let you know that I will be, with your permission, pursuing that. And that would probably be something that would be awarded next year, funding probably towards the end of next year.
Is there a match on that?
I don't think, I don't know. I haven't read through all the details yet, but we would certainly be able to budget for that next year. The max is $250,000, the minimum is $25,000. So, the Sheriff's Office Architectural and Engineering Design, the bids close on the 8th of September. Bid opening is the September 9th. I've only had one inquiry. So if you know any architectural engineering firms, send them my way. Parable TAP grant is moving along. I think we'll be probably starting work on that sometime towards the end of the year. The courthouse, the progress meeting is September 3rd at 9 a.m. We meet every other week to kind of discuss moving forward on the cupola. Tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m., is an acoustical testing firm coming in to start working on the sound in that room, in the circuit court room. So that's just a little bit of what we have going on.
Awesome.
I would say that tomorrow we close on the Ho-Column property. So.
Tomorrow.
So Shannon, don't go anywhere without cutting me a check.
Oh,
I'll give you the
okay.
numbers.
Did I need to get that approved?
I think that, I mean, we've already approved.
The purchase price. Yeah. Okay. All right, so close us out with, I think Master Boder mentioned the 250th committee will meet at 2 o'clock today. On Saturday, the 29th, the Grill House in Perros will have their 1 year, I guess, re-grand opening and ribbon cutting, so anybody that can attend that.
Best ribs in Kentucky.
That's right, that's right. Also that morning, Saturday morning, the Boyle County Rebel Pancake Breakfast will start at 7 o'clock, and that's at the showroom, and I believe it's $10, best I can remember, Saturday morning. And then on Monday, September 7th, the courthouse will be closed for Labor Day. I did not attend the GLIC conference this year, but I did work the Little Cherubs consignment sale, which was a huge success. We ended up with over $50,000, $58,000 in sales, so that
Most ever, I think.
will be divided up.
51 last year.
It was a little less this year.
Yeah, it was one of the best 3 years, I think.
Yeah, it was a little less this year, but needless to say, it still was
wonderful,
a pretty hefty amount. So I can't wait to meet and decide on who is going to reap the reward from all those sales. Jamie, I have just been advised, hot off the press, that we have received the signed agreement from the Parks and Rec new committee. Miss Julie has that on her hot little phone over there, and so we can back up and ask for
I'll make that motion to make him the
permission.
committee person for Parks and Rec.
The fiscal court appointee.
Parks and Rec appointment for Magister Gay. So we have a motion by Magister Cullen, a second by Magister Sleeper. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Congratulations, you are the new committee appointee.
Thank you. Things have come full circle. I was the city appointee when we were doing Millennium Park 26
There you go.
years ago.
Best of both worlds.
Under Mayor Alex.
Should also note that the judges on that committee as well.
Okay. Thank you.
So you got your work cut out.
Yeah. Okay, so I would like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Tina Cox today and just continue to remember her family, continue to remember Rusty, and Charlie and Courtney and their spouses and their children as they go forward, because this is a huge loss to their family as well as the courthouse family, and we'll all be grieving for some time. Tina was a very special person, and she knew a lot about everything, and if she didn't, she would make you believe that she did. But we all will truly miss her and all of her UK sports antics and discussions and conversations about Kentucky Wildcats and Boyle County football, two things that she really loves. So just ask that we, in your motion to adjourn, that we include that we will be adjourning in McBride at 10 o'clock.
I make a motion.
Master Cullen, second by Master Ellis. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. We're adjourned.